Hey, all right. There we go. We are now live, and I have just
Fuck, I hate that.
I've re-X'd the tweet. The X that Vinny X'd.
The X.
You've
Yeah.
re-X'd your X. Good X, bro.
Good X.
Yeah, I gave a sick X.
I also X'd your X.
Thanks, dog.
Nice.
I feel
Strong X.
I feel like there's so many things to say, but I think like the fact that every single person scrambled to just point out that this is the most divorced thing that's ever happened in the history of the goddamn world.
I mean, there's something to be appreciated about hey, remember when PayPal was supposed to be called X? No? Okay, well, no, good.
I do.
Here's X now. Yeah. Hey, Vinny, what's going on? Appreciate you coming to hang
Woolie.
out.
Thanks, man. It's always a pleasure to be in the presence of you and Pat. So thanks for having me.
Dude, I'll be honest, I'm really glad to have you here. I'm so nervous because the last time you were on this podcast, you made me look like the stupidest idiot in the world. And I'm just sitting around going, oh god, I hope that doesn't happen again.
I
I
relayed
have
that
no
story
memory of
to
that.
you. I relayed the story.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just that memory was totally gone until Woolie reminded me. But I think you're going to do great, Pat. I'm worried I'm going to look like an idiot like my alien looks right now. I don't want to look like that in real life. So
God, I don't like that thing. Why?
Well, what we need to happen is we need you to pull out of the pocket some sort of incredible phenomenon that has been a cultural sweep that we've been completely in the dark on for years, and like to have a moment of you've never heard of PUBG is essentially what we're referring to. I don't know what else you've got that we don't know about.
I think
I'm waiting for
we
it.
dodged the biggest bullet possible in that Vinny was not here when we sat around going, what the fuck is Gary's mod? Is that the model viewer?
Oh boy. How about Skibbity Toilet? Are you aware of Skibbity Toilet?
I don't know about Skibbity Toilet.
No.
Okay, I got one for you. This isn't years old, but it's new and it's important in the culture at the moment.
Is it?
Not really, but I'll tell you what it is. It's speaking of Gmod, so it's Half-Life characters in toilets that get like 80 million to 100 million views on platforms. It's like little like shorts of like say the G-Man with a distorted face popping out of a toilet shooting things with laser eyes.
Okay, I'm seeing it.
Okay.
It got so huge. I just did a segment on this last week and it was like very bizarre, and basically whenever a new one's posted, it'll get like 100 million in like a day. So that's how big it is, but it's still going back to old Half-Life assets, weirdly enough.
Wow.
Skibbity Toilet.
I mean, the autocomplete on Google was instantaneous with that one. Okay.
I just looked it up on the internet, and the first result I got was a YouTube video with the YouTube man face going, "Don't watch Skibbity Toilets!"
Yeah.
So, I was gonna say that if not Skibbity Toilet, perhaps Vinny would be the first person that was on Glorbo. Are you aware?
Oh, that good Glorbo shit. Yeah.
Are you aware of Glorbo?
Is that World of Warcraft?
Yeah, big excitement for Glorbo.
I don't play World of Warcraft anymore. It's been 15 years or so, maybe a little more than that. But
oh man,
my last one was what's the second? Burning Crusade. Wait, what was the second? The first
it was
expansion.
Burning Crusade.
I stopped after that, so that's how long ago we're going back here. But
Okay.
I'm aware of Glorbo, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
good shit, Glorbo.
I'm very excited for Glorbo.
Y'all are just getting turned on to Glorbo now. Now everybody's all hyped for Glorbo, but you weren't hyped for Glorbo back then. What's up? Where were you? Where were you at? When Glorbo needed you, huh?
When Glorbo needed you the most. Yeah, I love Glorbo. Good shit. Always good shit.
Damn.
Glorbo. All right, so for anybody who's not in on the joke, because we tend to do that and just move away, people on the World of Warcraft subreddit invented a fake feature called Glorbo and made a huge thread about how everyone excited for Glorbo.
So excited for Glorbo.
Hell yeah.
So that websites that just use AI to just scrape subreddits for news articles, just auto-posted complete nonsense articles about a fake feature that's not real.
Oh, it's the best.
And it did exactly that, and it was like, it's so obvious that it was AI, and yeah, it's amazing. I mean, that could be happening across the entire internet at this point.
Yes, and
like
that's
Glorbo's a microcosm.
It's the best. Like it's one of it's a great like story of the times happening right in the middle of the strike right now, just to show you like the level of like how just instantaneous and garbage the product can be that AI is going to put out when it has the crawlers just grabbing anything, going through the World of Warcraft subreddit, looking for the word excited and finding as many exclamation marks as possible, filling in generic photos. Like the level of like non-polish is astonishing.
I feel like bad journalism, and in particular bad video game journalism, was uniquely poised to be ruined by this exact thing. Because one of the things that we've been complaining about for like 10 years is like, here's the news article, and the news article is just the press release that Blizzard sent out. It's like that's all it is. So yeah, why not just have a robot scrape for articles?
Just complete Glorbo saturation.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god.
Dr.
I should mention
wonderful. Like
I should mention that for me, I was doing like streams where I was showcasing, and this is like a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, like various AI things, whether they be like terrible, like deformed, strange Marios, or like aliens, or like even just stories that ended up not making any sense.
Yeah, you use that AI story generator robot thing to go down that nightmare rabbit hole, right?
Yeah, and I did before it turned into a huge conversation, and I couldn't really even foresee, because it was so bad. Like the AI was like funny, it was terrible, and now they're using it to try to like, cut out the middleman and save money, like an extra couple $1,000 on hiring someone to do the thing. And it's like, oh, it's a real issue. But for the time, I was just like writing stories about Mario doing things with the Teletubbies, and like, Mario would turn pink and die. And that was enough for me. But yeah, I had no idea it was going to become what it did.
It's the whole thing is a bunch of people who have not, like, people who can't fathom creating anything that's actually interesting, being mad that other people can create things interesting. It's like, that's not fair. I should be able to do that. I have money. And looking at like the worst generated garbage and going, yeah, that's good enough, right?
Yeah, and the ability to essentially like liquid paper over a performance if you need to change something, or do an ADR or anything like that. And or perhaps you need to you can start with that, and maybe at some point you need to edit a kiss. Maybe these two people shouldn't be kissing in this market. Maybe we can change that through the magic of generating it, or whatever the fuck you could expect.
Yeah.
The level of it's the story that was like, okay, so they went out and like cut all the trees down right outside where the pickets were gonna be, just to make it extra hot. Like, you're like, holy fuck, that's
like super villain level. Like that, there's some things that happen these days where you're like, if you wrote this into a movie, people would criticize it for being too on the nose.
Yeah, no, you're right. And they also like illegally closed down part of that sidewalk, and a bunch of the picketers got hit by cars.
Oh my god, I didn't hear that.
Because then they had to picket on the curb.
Jeez.
All this stuff, there's this weird like mental archetype that is the worst guy that was in your finance class in university. Like, I have recently started following what might be the most depressing X account I have ever seen, which is called Coinfessions, which is just anonymous confessions about how people have ruined their lives with crypto and NFTs. And one that stands out to me is one that's from a game developer. Was like, we really believed that NFT crypto games were the future, but we looked at the market and they were all terrible scams, and we're like, we need to make a real game. And they spent like the whole team's life savings, and they're proud of it, but the people they're marketing to don't care about it, and they just keep asking about the token price and the buy-in. You remember all that shit of like, imagine you're wasting your labor by playing a game. You should be earning.
Oh,
it's like,
yeah,
I'm
that was
playing
a
a game
huge
to
thing.
relax, dude.
I know.
I remember years ago there was someone I was talking to that basically had a website startup, and they were interested in like making games to like basically just offer to play through browser games. And one of the things they were talking to me about was like, oh, would you like to like design like a fighting game and something like this for this? And I was like, I don't know if this type of setup is the best for, you know, like, but anyway, but basically there was a discussion about like what a browser fighting game could be with the limitations of that. And we've seen a couple of examples of that being all right. Like there's a game called Tough Love Arena that works really well through browser, but it became very quick and apparent through a couple of conversations that it was like, yeah, I don't care what the fuck you make. The point is to it's just to get the attention traffic, you know, driven through here. And like, if it barely worked, it didn't matter so much as it was just one of many games that you could get people's eyes to take a look at, you know. And they don't know or give a fuck about like, anyway, whatever. It's all, I kind of lost what I was saying in the middle of that, but
just use the AI to scan the Woolie in so he can fill in the rest of this podcast with gibberish.
There you go. There you go. I did it with my own fucking VTuber, and I might do it again. Who knows? We'll see. You got to beat him to the punch.
Is your VTuber called Glorbo?
My VTuber is not called Glorbo, but it should have been. Okay. The SEO would have been wonderful.
Yeah.
I had somebody ask me what my worries were of an AI taking over and like doing what I'm doing better than I could do, and I'm thinking like that question came after me going on an extended tangent about me secretly breastfeeding rats under my shirt. Like, I don't think the AI is gonna be on the level for a while to think up that stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Here's a little, and actually kind of, I don't know if this is a joke or not, but I'm going to tell you, someone on the Vinesauce subreddit a couple days ago, or maybe yesterday, posted an obviously AI video of me with an AI voice saying, I'd like to say rest in peace to Joel Varg Skeletor. It was nice knowing you. You know, it's really sad he is dead. And it was so clearly AI. My mouth moving was AI. Someone makes a post today, I'm really sad that Joel is dead. How did he die? And like, it seemed like a serious post. So the point I'm trying to make is, even if it looks terrible and sounds terrible, it's still going to fool some people. So if they were serious.
And if those people post about it, then someone else reading that is going to go, oh, I guess that happened? What the fuck? And before you know it, it's rolling.
There was a really great X thread about a year ago that showed the Pope in that puffer coat. Remember that one?
I remember that. Yeah.
It was this lady talking about, listen, you're not smart because you saw the puffer coat Pope and went, that looks fake as fuck. I don't think that's real, right? Because if you look at it, like if you really look at it for like a second, yeah, no, it's got the flaws. It doesn't look real. It's got issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
She said that the real concern is that most people didn't even really look at it at all. They didn't even have the thought that they might be seeing something that was bullshit and just completely absorbed it totally uncritically.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Woolie and I had a thing that is kind of similar to what you're describing, Vinny, in which there was like a really old story in which I got a guy to sell me Street Fighter early. And then like over a year or 2 years later, he got fired for stealing from the store. And down the grapevine it went until I can't believe Pat forced that guy to sell him Street Fighter and got him fired. What a dick.
Right. Yeah, and a million games of broken telephone on that, for sure.
That happened to me just the past. I mean, I don't want to go too much into it because it's become a bit of a rabbit hole. But one of a clip that was posted by a bot, right? So I didn't even post it, but it was me muting the volume on a voice in a game that was annoying. As I would, you saw it.
It was Viewfinder, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And the telephone game got really annoying to the point where people started ascribing things to me, like he hates this game or he hates women or whatever. And it's like, listen, I muted the game. I muted the voice. And then later I said the game is awesome. But the telephone game, especially when it gets re-X'd that many times, the game of telephone
gets, baby. Let's go.
The game of telephone is played so intensely, and there's a lot of bad faith people there too that just want to drive engagement, and it turns into a clown show. And so if you watch my full clip, I have more to say about it. But yeah, I mean, that's always going to happen, especially when something like catches on and hits like a weird little like zeitgeist moment. That High on Life game, you know, looked 10 times worse, and I was offered a key for that, and I just straight up refused because of how annoying it looked. So it's like, you know, there are definitely things that I could do to try to explain myself, but after a while, like, it's just no one's going to even hear that, so the damage is done, so to speak.
Right.
But, you know, and I want to tell people Viewfinder is actually an awesome game. So that happened recently.
It's always alive.
The bit about people not even critically looking at something and thinking for a second that they need to consider whether it's real or not is interesting, because it's why I think what Matt Stone and Trey Parker were doing with Sassy Justice, if you remember that. They had basically, okay, so South Park guys made a company called Deep Voodoo, which is all about like deep fake technology, and they used it to make this show called Sassy Justice with like a bunch of deep fakes of like Mark Zuckerberg with like a southern accent selling you I forgot what, like lawnmowers or something, and then it has like Trump as like just like a guy with a weird accent as well, and like their faces are like clearly what you recognize, but their voice and behavior is completely not that. And it's like it's comedy, but it's like if you see it, it might give you pause if you're not used to this. Like your parents might see it and go, "What the fuck am I looking at?"
Oh,
and, right. And that little moment of, wait, what? Why is he? Huh? He doesn't sound. And it's like, yeah, we can do this now, almost. You know, and it makes you aware of how fucked and how close we are to that. And then I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but there was a recent Kendrick Lamar album where one of the tracks they used that same company to like have face morphing, and he turned into a bunch of different people in it, you know. But that like particular show that they put out, and I think it was just on Adult Swim or whatever, like it has a purpose of like being funny, but also catching anyone who doesn't know that we're here, that up to speed, and letting you know, no, we're here now. You cannot tell, you know.
Shit. Yeah, it's a weird, scary time, and also people are going to make their decisions on the first thing that they see. First impressions are extremely important, and some people don't have the time. I mean, I have some sympathy because some people just don't have time. They're busy working like 2 jobs. You know, they have families. Like, I understand why some of this stuff gets perpetuated and why it's so difficult to be a discerning like human being when life's already complicated enough and you have no time to actually like, you know, spend on that particular thing. And then it turns into, well, that's how I feel about it. I don't care. So
it's pretty easy for us to sit around as professional media consumers and go, well, obviously that's fake.
And that's why when you don't have time, you turn to X and you scroll through the top X's to see what everyone's talking about that day. You keep it nice.
That's right.
What people are talking about right now is their Kingdom Hearts names. because we're all part of Organization 13 now.
Shit, where was that? Yeah. Someone tweet. Excuse me. Someone X'd at me. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Yeah. X is more than just one letter. It's a symbol. The Greek symbol for chi, or X-blade, which will be formed when Ventus, a being of no darkness, fights Vanitas, a being made of darkness, and opens the door to the power of Kingdom Hearts. It just hard cut to the Woody. Let him cook. Hold on. Hold up.
Oh, that's so wonderful. What a great timeline we live in, huh?
Oh yeah, real great.
I mean, I woke up this morning planning to fucking come talk about like some Street Fighter and other random bullshit, and you never know. You never know where it's gonna roll.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Pat?
I was like, this is a really good, because sometimes we have guests on the podcast that like aren't super into fighting games, and like so it's difficult to talk about Street Fighter. Today is a day where everyone from every skill level can understand the big story about Street Fighter.
Yeah. I mean, well, just to touch on it and go, because there's some other stuff I do want to get into, but Rashid is a new character that just dropped, and the Street Fighter 6 has been going great so far, and a big wild move was that they announced that a downloadable character that's not in the game until yesterday is going to be legal at EVO, which is coming up in about 2 weeks from now. The big finals for the big fighting game tournament of the year, so to speak. And usually that's not enough time. Like 1 week is the
balance
regulation.
A character.
Yeah, for everyone to get used to it, because you've been practicing on playing on a version of the game that's been a certain way, and then
I see.
The closer to the tournament that they get released, the more it's a random kind of unknown. It's like introducing a complete unknown variable. But they kind of just Capcom said, fuck it, let it rock. We're gonna.
No, it's cool, man. It's exciting,
and it is an exciting thing for the viewer to be just like, yeah, we don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Let's see if Rashid blows up, like all the people we expected to win and stuff, and so that kind of like hype and wild response has been what people have been talking about recently. And then yesterday, when the character dropped, they found basically an infinite, like unstoppable bug with him where he can just shut you
within
down
like 5 minutes, like
and
instantly.
Any of the counterplay that you think you might apply to it can be counterplayed upon. So like literally just breaks the game open. Like
yeah, no, he throws out his level 2, and if you block it, it just goes infinitely, and you eventually die.
And I saw people going, oh, but you can parry it. It's like, yeah, but he can throw you, and then you still get mixed up. They're like, oh, you can drive reverse it, yeah, but then he can block that and still mix you up. Like it's just fucked. And like they're gonna have to probably do something about that. But this whole like the excitement of a brand new unknown factor, like this is what could happen, when you just unleash it into the wild.
Oh, that's great.
You let a chipmunk into the fucking house, and you're like, all right, well, let's see what happens, guys. Like
yeah.
But anyway, it's so busted looking. I'm sure they're going to address it, so I'm not that worried.
Do you think when you say address, do you mean make the character like illegal for the tournament, or potentially just patch the character?
I suspect they're going to patch it because I think they want people to buy the character, so they're going to leave that as a legal thing instead of banning them, because it's like there's a big financial incentive to push people to go grab it.
Yeah, they've already said they're going to patch it.
So
when they found that fucked up option select a while ago, they said within a day, oh no, we see it, and then it was like mostly fixed within like a day or two.
A lot of stuff takes time to get around to if it's like minor or like mild, but if it's like major like these things are, it's like, okay, no, all systems get on that immediately. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
my street. I don't play a lot of fighting games. We might have talked about this at Too Many Games Bowl, but my fighting game history is pretty limited. I played a lot of Soul Calibur and some Mortal Kombat, but like the Street Fighter 6 looked so good, I had to buy it. Now I've only streamed it like a couple times, but it is like a phenomenal video game. And of course, what do I do as a streamer is make a fucked up looking character. Of course.
Yeah.
That's
you're Cronenberg. You must.
So yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say other than game is good. Glad you're enjoying it.
and make the weirdest freaks you can. The system enables it and rewards you for it.
Yeah.
The longer your limbs, the further you can reach. You know, like all of that is
crazy
physics. Yeah.
Yeah, I made Gollum, and he doesn't have a lot of reach.
You did. That's where that cutscene. I was watching a cutscene somebody sent me, and it was Gollum talking to Jury. I'm like, what is happening? Until I heard you laughing like quietly in the background.
Pat, I like how much of my content has been force-fed into your life.
Like, dude, all the time.
Sorry,
like I vividly remember, like, just I forget, it's not you, it was Joel, but I was playing something with aliens and people just kept spamming fucking UFO porno at me nonstop.
Yep, that's Joel.
To the point where I had to stop and be like, what the fuck are you saying to me? What does this mean?
Yeah.
Vinny, your content is being force-fed into David Hayter's life, okay? Like, it's spreading. It's becoming aware.
So my audience knows that story. I don't know if you want to go into it for a minute, but
sure. I don't know that they do here.
Okay, so I'll mention real quick. Me and Will got a chance to hang out at Too Many Games with iPatch Wolf. We had a really good series of conversations, like pretty much the whole weekend. Like it was just great. Mm-hmm. And David Hayter was there, and essentially he was doing his thing. He's really extroverted. He gets so many fans that come up to him, and he gives them what they want. He gives them the snake thing, and it's great. That sounded weird. Hearing it back in my head gives them the snake thing does not sound good.
They're going to move it going. We keep it going.
Everyone knows what you mean.
So I see David in the room where the tuber folk are to hang out. You know, like the waiting room. Mm. And he introduces himself to me. I'm like, David, I have to say, I'm that Vinny guy who has introduced that horrible thing into your life. And he knew exactly what it was. I was like, I just want to apologize. Someone paid him on Cameo to say, Vinny, I heard that you have a meme where Raiden wants to squeeze Snake's hog. And he does this whole thing. And now he's incorporating it into his life. The squeeze my hog meme, and he like yelled it at me, and then like he recorded a video with me, and then me, Woolie, and iPatch Wolf are hanging out. David is, hanging out. He's having a couple drinks, and he's like, Vinny, squeeze my hog.
Just like
crazy.
Just from another table for like just out loud, bringing it like constantly. Like what a champ of a dude. Like he's I saw that you described it as like he knows exactly what he means to people, and like he gives them that, and it's like, that's a really good way to describe it. Incredible.
Yeah, and he gets energy from social interactions, whereas I kind of don't.
Right.
No, thanks.
And he also gets energy from the face you make when he yells "squeeze my hog" at full volume.
Oh, see, no, that I understand.
Right.
That I understand perfectly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We all know that feeling, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess just to go on like weeks or whatever's been going on recently, anything you've been watching, playing, checking out that's of note?
Yeah, I watched a drone show that there was Fry from Futurama. There was like a drone show the other day. Did you see that?
I didn't see that. How did that go?
I just watched like a clip of it, but I was now anytime I see anything drone related, like in the sky, a nice show, I'm like, Woolie.
They don't know yet. We
just talked about it. That's all I'll say. Okay. We had a long conversation about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Woolie, are you abandoning kites for drones?
No. But now I suppose we have to discuss it because this was for me. And I shared it. It was a conversation we had, but I guess now it's out here, so we're going. Fine.
I'm sorry, Will.
It's okay. I knew this day would come someday, and that day is today, I suppose, right? But I love kiting, obviously, and it's one of those things where I still do. But more importantly, there was just a thought as to like what is something. Okay, if I ever fucking was just out of this game and gone, and YouTube shutdown and everything.
You've retired from public life.
I feel that there are things that are currently possible but not being fully the potential of different of the technology and the places we can go is not being fully realized. And quite frankly, I've been keeping my eye on drone shows and the way those things paint in the sky from when they were really basic to now when they're really advanced. And I'm like, these things, no one's paying attention to them, but these things are fucking amazing. And you can do unbelievable things, and we're just scratching the surface of it. And like, I would super go hard into art in the sky via drone. And I just think that it's a field that requires a lot of attention, and to take it to the next level, it would require a lot of dedication and time and you know, engineering and ingenuity. But I just I don't have that kind of time, and I don't have the ability to set that up in my life. But in an alternate reality, I go 1,010% into that direction. And I believe the end of the conversation was, well, if ever you don't hear from me, Vinny, look to the skies.
Yeah, look to the skies. Yeah. Well, I've been looking, and apparently yesterday at San Diego Comic-Con, there was a Futurama promotion, and they did a bunch of Futurama art in the sky. So that's why this came up. Apologies for giving that away, but yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. You know, it's a good bit. It's my dream. But it's you know, but it's also a good bit. And who am I to not sacrifice my dream for the bit?
Yeah.
I feel like by speaking that into the air, we are now 1 15-minute period away from finding out that all drone operators have been replaced by AI.
I mean, certainly, certainly. But the reality of it is that, like, one of the biggest problems is that, like, the sound is too loud. We can't get over that. But I just think that there's so much potential there, and like the fact that when I first saw it, a post of a video of it was like a very basic, like, I think it was just like a Pac-Man or something simple, whatever, and it was like, is anyone else seeing like the potential behind just the idea that this is a coordinated thing, not just turning lights on in a pixelated form, but like a fully three-dimensional thing? I sent you that dragon the other day. Like, it's getting there, and no one's super paying attention except for like at like New Year's, they'll be like, oh wow, look what this country did. That's crazy. And it's essentially digital fireworks are happening.
It's more importantly than digital fireworks, it's that it's reusable fireworks.
Yeah. And the potential to like set up a shop and have a thing where you're like, okay, we can do this big scale for a celebration, or we can do it small scale for like a wedding or like a party somewhere, you know. And as long as you can work out the noise part of it, you can just have these awesome things, and it's not going to be as like, because I mean, obviously 4th of July is huge in the States and everything like that.
Yeah.
But like the ability to coordinate this and make it like not as like smoke filled and crazy and nuts with the everything. But I love fireworks. I fucking love me some fireworks. Too. I want it to be. I talked about it before. Like, I wanted to be a pyrotechnician for a while in my life. Like, that was a real thing. But just the fact that you can reuse it and then go further, take a step beyond. Like, I'm fucking It's the coolest shit, man.
And not scare the shit out of animals.
Yeah, right. that's a big one.
Right.
You know, it's funny because like I'm looking at so Vinny just posted in the little Discord chat we have. He posted the Futurama show that he's describing, and it's really cool. I skimmed through it, and I don't know if it says more about my personality or maybe the state of the drones, but like, that's really cool. That's really impressive. But to me, that's not as violently impressive as a 1,000 tall foot fucking sphere that just turns into a giant goddamn eyeball that looks at you while you're golfing.
Yes, especially while you're golfing and stares at your horrible putt.
Like I love the sphere. I love it. So it is both an eighth wonder of the world and the cyberpunk nightmare here now for us.
I'm looking forward to seeing that in Vegas for Evo, and I'm gonna get up close, and I want to see if I can get close enough to see the annoyed, disappointed golfers out on the green.
Man.
Fucking
it's
up the
one of those
skyline.
things where I look at it and I go, you know, when people are like, "Oh, we're living in a dystopia," and then you think of all the dystopia fiction that you've encountered over your life, like Blade Runner. Like shit's cool in Blade Runner. It's run down and awful, but aesthetically, it's really cool.
My favorite
Our
movie.
dystopia sucks and is lame. It's like the TV dinner version of dystopia,
Yeah.
except for that big sphere.
Yeah.
Also, though,
There will be more.
Yeah. And the thing is the importance of the context is that the Las Vegas skyline is not only ever changing, but it's always been a nightmare. You know, like the fucking the old days of the casino era like strip are long gone. There's all kinds of garish, weird, horrible buildings popping up and nightmare casinos like year to year. So like, what the fuck is just one more huge weird orb that stares at you or turns into a planet and does all kinds of other creepy shit?
Eye of Sauron. You know what? It's funny that you mentioned garish things in Vegas, because in New York City, the skyline is all kinds of fucked up by just like these tall, skinny penthouse buildings, like near Central Park. And there's like the character of the skyline. I know it sounds weird, but to someone who grew up, you know, I mean, there's a romanticized version of the skyline that was like so iconic in merchandise and like postcards. And you look at it now, and it's like kind of just a jagged hellscape. And a lot of these tall, skinny buildings have like, 26 condos in them. And that's it.
So I brought this up when I went to New York years ago last time. Is maybe which one was it? 432 Park? Yep, that's the one. 432 Park Avenue. This fucking horrible looking thing, because we went to the Empire State Building and we're looking out, and I just remember looking and seeing this ugly colored weird skinny thing. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Oh yeah, I hate that
like,
building. I just googled it.
Yeah, and everyone that was like from there basically was just like, oh god, that thing. They're like, yeah, people are just, they're building up because they've got that one plot of land, so why not go as high as possible and make their mark, And
There's
it's
a
like
bunch more.
Yeah, and I saw the plans for the U or the curve, whatever the fuck. They want to build one that curves at the top into a second building now, and it's similarly skinny and ugly and just fucking
oh
I've got a
god, yeah,
question
I'm looking
for
at that.
you guys.
awful architecture.
Oof.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Which would you prefer? I've seen the New York issue of like some of these neighborhoods are getting like 2 hours of sunlight a day because of the skyscraper encroachment, and that's the like FF7 fucking pizza in the sky made manifest. Or the situation in which, look, we made a gigantic artsy building that just happens to reflect the sun in such a way that causes a fucking laser beam of death to sweep across the city, like
Shin
that fucking
Godzilla
thing out
laser.
in London.
Yeah.
Like I'm big on the laser. I'm a big fan of the fucking your car got melted by the fucking Manulife building or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, I'm all for corporate sponsored laser. Like, yeah, that would be fun. And then like they could have it focus into like a little like a dish, and that focuses back into the sky and advertises on the moon. Be down for that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
I feel like Spider-Man needs to be swinging off of Art Deco buildings, and Batman needs to be posing on top of those. Not these weird fucking shitty Lego ones. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean that's and again, talking about Final Fantasy VII, just to segue real quick, like I love that style, right? So Blade Runner, I mentioned real quick, is my favorite movie, and it's not because the movie is like narratively amazing. It can be if you really dig into it, but I love the way it looks, and I like the way New York City looks at night when it's raining as well. Like it could look kind of cool, but yeah, I mean, there's something about that Final Fantasy VII like dystopia feel that I really like. And you get to a point where, and this is going to be a complete 180 away from what we were just talking about, but let me ask you guys a question. Do you prefer that style of Final Fantasy, or do you prefer like castles, like towns? This is a conversation I've been having since I've been playing 16. So where are you standing in regards to the aesthetic of like a Final Fantasy game?
So, is this a
okay.
place where we have to live IRL, or in terms of a setting?
No.
Setting.
Okay. To me, I think like cyberpunk and steampunk and things like that. I think they're more interesting. We've seen a lot of different versions of them, recently, and I pick that generally. Just because I feel like there's a lot of themes you can explore with it. There's a lot of visual things you can do that are, like, I like how, in that type of setting, the oppression of like how big the buildings can be, where the slums are, and that type of thing. You don't
I love that.
That's a feeling, right, that you get.
Yeah.
That, like, in a sort of traditional setting, that might be there for like one area or so, but like it's not at all really a major point of the setting. A lot of the time there will be like in 16 you can see the way what was it? I'm just walking up to it, but the city
That
on
big
the
castle
on the hill on top of the
with the big magic
Mother
behind
Crystal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see that as like a sort of like, oh, this is a place that is better than you plebeians. Stay in your filth, you know?
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the like grime on the ground of like having, you know, the way you could have a Midgar sort of setup, and then right next to that, or immediately sometimes right up against it, the contrast of the super rich and the class fucking disparity is something you can play with visually, you know?
And also from a story element too. That's what makes Final Fantasy VII, I think, so rich for people like to this day. Like there's something about that, and like it's saying something without like completely saying it sometimes, by just showing you what it does. Like that whole thing. I really like that setting. I mean, I like swords and castles. I like what they're doing with 16, because where you're at right now, Will, is my favorite part of the game thus far.
Okay.
I'm like not far from where you are. I'm a little bit past it. But like seeing, you know, they're doing a thing where they're showing like how people are being treated versus the people in the castle. So
yeah.
it's really interesting shit, and I like when Final Fantasy does that, because there's something, you know, that's something that we see. Like as someone who lives in New York City, I mean, it's Staten Island, but we
Yes.
also have that
Yes.
massive disparity between here's the hill with all the mansions, and then here's the spots where there's really like low income. And then you go into Manhattan and it's the same thing. Down the block, there will be super rich. And then down the block from that, there's some like super low income shit. And it's just like, that is a really interesting. That's why New York City, I think, also has a lot of character. And there's a lot of, you know, like people do tend to band together when there's a problem. But there's also, you know, a lot of crazy shit that like does. So I like that setting in a fantasy game. I think it's interesting to explore. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling.
So, I gotta say, like, I'm trying to think, because I don't think I agree with either of you guys in terms of my personal preference. 16 is definitely really interesting, because you have, like, you know, the Evil East setting, right, in the past with Tactics and Tactics Advances and Vagrant Story, right? And 16 is even regressed from that. Like 16 is, despite the presence of icons and gigantic, you know, magic Godzillas, it's like the lowest level of technology ever on display in a Final Fantasy game, to the point where people can't even light fires, like a standard cooking fire, without some form of magical equivalent.
And the tech was there, but it's just
but now it's gone. It's like
gone.
You know,
yeah,
like
exactly,
the bellows is
right.
like, oh, what the fuck is that? 16 is really consistent about that, and that's really cool. Personally, I think FF7's like pseudo modernism, or like I don't want to call it steampunk. I want to call it oil punk, if that makes any more sense. Because I view Mako more as like an oil analog. But like, I really like that. What I don't like is near postmodern futurism, which is, I would define as like parts of 8 or 13.
See,
right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like
I'm not into 13.
the far futurism Final Fantasy. I feel it's too much. And so if I had to pick like any of the particular styles, I would go with something that I would only see described in 6 and 14, which I'm going to call regional futurism, in which a low level of medieval technology approaching something you'd see in Ivalice or 16 and the cultural styles therein, with technological advancement being like left to a single nation,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
such as like the FF6's Empire,
I love that.
or
Yeah, that's my favorite.
FF14's incredibly similar Empire.
So I like when, I mean, it goes without saying, it's like, but when the setting is as alive as characters can be, you know. You were talking about how New York has that kind of contrast. In Montreal here, there's a street called L'Acadie, and L'Acadie divides TMR, Town of Mount Royal, which is gated, giant shrubs, beautiful houses, and Park X, Park Extension, where kids are playing in the trash bags in front of the projects that the buildings are fucking collecting garbage from. And like, you drive down the road and you see it in your same like line of vision on both sides, you know. It's, and like when you kind of have that type of so that type of thing existing, it says something when you see that in a setting, and when someone deliberately shows you that. If you were to take the cars out front on one side and you see the exhaust of the gas tank going back into the muffler, you're like, oh, that's Looper, right? Looper is like that future setting that's like, ooh, you can see how we get to this place from here. Like, just fast forward a couple of horrible decades and we're right there. I like when you know that all that stuff happening mise en scène in the background or whatever is calling to your attention as much as the setting is, as much as the characters are. And
for sure.
I guess I'm thinking of like even when it goes overboard, like with like so I haven't played Cyberpunk, but I watched Edge Runners. I said played. There you go. There's my brain. But just watching Edge Runners and seeing like even how that is you know, you get on a subway and you just on the main character going to school and back. It's like you're Blade Runner, inundated with ad space, lights, sounds, noise. Just noise becomes the gray because it's so overwhelming, you know. If you can use that to like add a detail to the story that otherwise would kind of just be like taken for granted, then it's a much more interesting setting. It's a better way to go, you know.
Having played Cyberpunk, I like the setting, but I also, there's something about it that repulses me because of that like extreme amount of ad space. And I do see New York City becoming more that. And it's just like Times Square is a nightmare. Anyone that visits, they're like, should I go to Times Square? I'm like, please never do that.
It's fucking
wild. But it's got the big ads, Vinny.
Yeah, I'd rather a neon sign for Atari as opposed to like a big hell screen. You know,
okay,
and the
screen just like blaring in my face.
And the screen doesn't have to like the screen is the beginning of it, because really the next level is the projector light onto the building across the street, you know, shining into where someone's living, like Roaster's fucking chicken coming through the window, you know, like that's like light sky writing and all that, you know, like you could just go to all the fucking hell permutations you want to with it, but
and it's fun to visit. I'm glad I don't quite live in the city. Like I live in more of it's more suburban, but I will also say we do get all the light pollution. So as someone that likes to look up at the stars and the sky once in a while, like that kind of sucks. So I have to like drive 2 hours upstate to maybe get a little bit of
well, why don't you just ask Woolie to make you some fake night sky with drones?
What?
I can put some things together, but
who needs real stars? We can have better stars that also sell you Coca-Cola.
Don't make fun of my secret dreams. Okay, well, they're for me. They're to make me happy.
That's out of the bag, unfortunately. But you know what? I won't make fun of them. Though I will say I love that idea of how great would it be to walk through Manhattan and have a drone come up to you and project a Coca-Cola ad directly into your face.
God.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yeah, man.
See,
where the
Give it
money
to
is.
me.
I mean, look, the other cool thing that people are doing with drones is they're doing like essentially F-Zero races. I don't know if you've seen those, but they've set up like warehouses as racetracks, and they have like rings of light that they have to fly through at high speeds. And
Oh, I did see that.
and you can basically
Yeah.
do F-Zero / Wipeout in
That
real
was
life.
one of the mini games in fucking Judgment, or Judge Eyes, whatever you want to call that game.
Okay.
Where you were doing drone races instead of like go-kart races.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Neat.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see one of those videos of a guy is like zooming through a warehouse and going, check out this cool trick where I do a backflip, and then he clips like part of the roof, and then his $1,000 drone explodes into a million pieces.
God.
It's like, cool trick, bro.
Okay, so there's a couple things I did this week that I would like to jump on.
Before we continue, I just should make a mention, because we've been doing it for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm in a different location currently. Paige and I have temporarily located to be closer to her care team because baby is any minute now. So I'm using a different microphone. I'm using a different webcam. And that'll be continuing for until baby is here. So just to let you guys know.
There you go.
If I'm the guest while this happens, that's going to be 2 major events in your life, Pat. PUBG and baby.
Please don't send my wife into labor right this second, Vinny.
No, I won't. But you know what? Show her some skibbity toilet, and it could happen.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
Just
So, Wool,
yeah.
Yeah, what's up, Woolie?
what do you got?
I don't know. A vision of a nightmare where Vinny turns around holding a swaddled baby, and then the face turns over and it's an alien.
I'm so sorry for that vision for both of you.
Well, anyways. I went to so the Fantasia Film Festival is happening this week in town, and I went to go check out some movies. And the first one I watched was Shin Kamen Rider, directed by Hideaki Anno of Eva fame.
Is it good?
It was fun. The main thing
Oh.
the main thing to know about it is, like, one, Anno is still extremely obsessed with the same subject matter of Eva. And you can tell
Really?
that, like, you know when you were watching Shin Godzilla and you can hear the literal music from Eva, and you can see all the bureaucracy and the bullshit and the government inefficiency like falling apart? All of that stuff is happening, so you can feel his cynicism there. And then his whole human instrumentality shit is still thoroughly alive and kicking, because
Really?
he just injects that shit hard into Kamen Rider. Still, right? And it
Really?
feels,
I can't believe it.
and it's kind of wild because it's telling the story essentially like almost like a more manga driven version of the original series, about, you know, the first about Ichigo, the first Kamen Rider. And it's interesting because it's like, it's the way the movie kind of comes together is almost like it's almost like a summary movie for a show that never happened, you know?
Okay.
Going through like the bosses and dealing with Shocker and you know, taking out like all the different threats and so on. It feels like you're watching a death and rebirth of a show that you've never seen, you know? And it's like and like all the things too about it where it's just like, this is aggressively not trying to be like a new take whatsoever. Like, it's like there was apparently an anecdote was like the art team redesigned the suit, you know, Hongo's Kamen Rider outfit for like this new world, this new futuristic take on it, and then he kind of went, okay, try like make a few tweaks, maybe make it a little bit more like, you know, like just like dial it back a little bit. And then he gave them such like bare bones feedback on stuff, but he was just like, no, not quite at what I'm looking for, try again. That eventually they just realized all he wanted was the original suit with a couple extra lines on it. And it's like, why didn't you just tell us that's what? And he's like, oh, I figured you'd get there eventually. Yeah, you know?
I wanted you to get there by yourself.
I wanted you to get there by yourself. Just, literally, none of this reworking, redesign, modern shit. Just take the goddamn thing it used to be and add a line or two. Call it a day, you know? And it opens on the teaser that was shown off before the movie came out, where like he jumps into action, he does all the flips like you'd expect, you know, and then when he hits the fucking grunts of the week, you're hearing 70s sound effects, but their bones and heads are cracking open and exploding into massive pink mist, blood, like fucking, and it's just like, oh god, what the fuck? And it's like, yeah, like, let's take that, but make it also the horror of Anno, you know, and really drive home that point. And like, he's ripping apart.
What would
these
it
grunts.
look like if you punched all the blood out of someone?
Insane. And then, but then you're still hearing the, like, again, the retro sounds of the 70s and stuff, you know. It was a lot of fun, man. And yeah, there's some proper I guess, like, existential horror shit, you know. There's some proper questioning of the nature of the soul of man and the nature of the afterlife and the nature of what humanity's happiness should be, you know. And, like, all of that in the span of, like, one fucking Kamen Rider, you know. And he's still asking those questions, but now he just wants a dude doing rider kicks off a motorcycle to answer them. And the answer is rider kicks, of course.
Yeah. How many rider kicks are in this movie?
Oh, there's a good couple. There's a rider kick.
Okay.
There's a rider kick that lands so hard that upon impact into the ground from the sky, the boot has to be pulled out of the corpse of the monster.
I like it.
Like,
yeah.
Whoo, you know. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's some super goofy shit, of course, that is just like, you know, there's some goofy shit that has, like, not no explanation, but like, okay, I'm just turn my brain off and accept, you know, the dumb part of this. But that's par for the course to some degree. It's also kind of wild because the special effects and CG they're using it's aggressively like goofy movie CG is looking worse than the way the show looks now. The show's CG has gotten, the show CG in the most recent series has gotten like amazing and like really, really top-notch shit, and the movies look like worse. It's weird that they've
really weird because,
you know?
like, the Evangelion films were like the nicest looking movies.
Well,
like, they were so well put together.
I mean, the budget's gonna make a difference, I suppose. But yeah, at the end of the day, just a lot of fun, and again, telling a new story and putting some unexpected twists and working in some stuff as well. For if you're a fan and you know that old shit, like, there's like down to the way the bushes are cut in the background of some shots, it's like insanely identical because he's like living his childhood. Like, I can see Anno like behind the monitor looking at the shot they're filming and then like rolling his eyes into his head to remember his childhood and then coming back to the present and being like, yes, it's perfect, you know. So that's cool, and that joins the I guess quadrilogy that is the rebuild movies: Shin, Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, and now Shin Kamen Rider. So that was fun, and then I wasn't planning to, but I happened to I happened to have an extra ticket, and I was like, okay, the movie that was airing right after that was the first Slam Dunk. This is the basketball anime as created by one Takehiko Inoue, the same creator as Vagabond. I haven't ever gone into Slam Dunk, but I've always seen it from a distance. Like, yeah, that's that basketball anime.
Did Slam Dunk finish, or did it get stuck in that same limbo that Vagabond did?
I'm pretty sure it finished. Yeah, it
okay.
You know, basketball did its thing. So I watched that. It was and Reggie and Min, we were checking it out. I am shocked. I am shocked, and like, I was like like I couldn't at a loss for words how fucking incredible this movie is.
Huh.
The first slam dunk is unbelievably awesome. And I've never seen or read anything slam dunk related ever. It's fucking great. Like you're going in, I'm like, all I know is Vagabond Guy's my fave. He did some great fucking samurais and philosophy storytelling. He loves basketball. What do you got for me? And I got so much more than I ever expected. The animation is actual, like, it's some of the best I've ever seen for like a CG movie now. Like it's 3D, and it's capturing his style, which I've always said forever. I don't want to ever see Vagabond adapted to anything because you'd lose too much in the process. This has single-handedly convinced me otherwise. They could absolutely do it, and the detail they have in some shots of just like Okinawa streets, the beach, playing just the playing hoops on an island somewhere, and like the amount of just unbelievably gorgeous attention to detail, and it's written and directed by the same guy again. Like, it absolutely is possible. The tech is there. They could make it happen.
Wait, this is CG? This trailer I'm looking at?
It's CG. The movie is 3D, and it looks unbelievable.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the budget they had for it, I don't know. Whatever they're doing, it's fucking working. The way the story is told, it's I didn't know any, like, it focuses on one of the characters on the team, Ryota, who's basically the point guard. He's the small guy, and you're kind of just following him and his family and what they're going through as he's like, as they're playing one game. It's the course of the movie is one game of ball and then his backstory at the same time. And like the way it goes about that, and like from something that nothing about these characters, like it gives you more than enough of like a full-fledged like just picture of everything. It's a perfect sports movie type of delivery of like why you're going to care about all these characters, the struggles they go through, and the shit that they present and how they do it is like it's very real. And I feel so stupid because I'm like, one of the things I love the most about Vagabond is how it treats subdued scenes. It has moments of profound emotional awareness that are delivered in very muted ways, and the same guy that can do that can totally do it over here. Replace your samurais with basketball, but I can still tell you an unbelievably compelling story, and it does a really good job with that, and it was very satisfying and grounded with how it approaches a lot of that stuff. And like the way it makes basketball like a fun, like an insanely fun thing to watch. Like, I have no problems with the sports anime when like iShield 21 is a football anime where they basically have superpowers. Like, the main character can see the lines and stop time and roll through the block. There's another dude who can like run right through you and become a ghost, like whatever.
Of course.
That stuff, that's crazy and fun, and everyone's glowing. But in this, it's just insanely realistic, but what makes it interesting is just the composition of the frame, the impact of the moments, and the places that they decide to pause everything, and the keyframes, so to speak. Just making a real game of basketball look fucking compelling, I can't, it was so good. I don't know what else to say, And I found out after the fact that like the story told in the movie is not even like, it's not even about the main character of the series. Like, the main character of the actual series is a different player on the team. It's the power forward on the team is actually who the story is about, and this is just a side character that like is one of the main guys that then they just put in this role. And I had no idea, I can't recommend this thing enough, whether you give a fuck about basketball or not. Just so fucking good. And yeah, I feel stupid for not like giving this the time of day sooner, because it's like, he's done shit I love already. Why wouldn't another subject matter be equally as fucking awesome when handled by him,
So I obviously didn't see this movie, but I did check out the trailer, same as Vinny did when you were talking, and like it is CG, I can tell that, but like I think we're finally hitting the point where like that just looks really good enough to do like a whole goddamn animated movie from Japan.
Yeah,
Like, you remember
yeah.
how ugly the Uzumaki Chronicles, not Uzumaki, the Junji Ito Chronicles or whatever was, how fucking hideous that
Bro,
shit was?
we just have to go
Looked
back to
awful,
Berserk 2016, man. Like, you know.
right? But then you look at the Uzumaki preview that they just released. It looks great. It's very obviously like 3D models, but it looks great.
Yeah. I again, it's not like not everything needs to be adapted into another medium, and I'm like, I'm happy with Vagabond using the maximum of what manga can do to tell its story. But this just convinced me that if they did want to, they could. It doesn't need to exist. It doesn't validate it anymore. It doesn't give it any more meaning. But if they wanted to, they could. The way you have, there's moments that he's really masterful about in when you read his stories, is when like you'll turn a page and you'll get a spread where like a character will be like 10% of a spreads of the composition, and then the rest is just like a glorious moment, a background with so much detail you can zoom in for fucking hours staring at every blade of grass, you know? Or sometimes it's just like white space if it's just going into their mind and things like that. There are moments they have in this movie where like that kind of happens on the court, you know, and they do it in 3D is I guess the best way I could describe it, you know. And I remember I was reading about how he a lot of the way he told the story and drew the characters is that like the best moments of in basketball are oftentimes depicted on trading cards. So he would take the poses from the players on trading cards and use those as reference for the manga, you know? And like they take that and then like take it to the next level in 3D when it's animated, and have like these hard keyframed stop moments to emphasize something right before like a crossover happens, or like a layup, or just catching a rebound has never been so fucking impactful, you know? I can go on forever about it, but never mind that. Just, I highly, highly recommend the first Slam Dunk, and I'm gonna go fucking check out Slam Dunk, man, because
I want to be clear here because it's a really unclear title. You're not talking about the first of the Slam Dunk movies.
No. The movie is literally called The First Slam Dunk. It's 2022. And goddamn.
Because I had that confusion when I typed in Slam Dunk movie into YouTube and actually saw, oh, it's actually called The First Slam Dunk.
Yeah. So that's
Will I like it if I've only ever seen one anime in my life before?
I mean,
is that true?
That is not entirely true.
Okay.
Okay.
But, like, I've seen 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, it's like what I love about it is that it reminds me of so there's another director called Satoshi Kon there's a movie called Perfect Blue that he made. It's very, very good.
I've heard about that one.
Really good because it was a live action movie that just got animated instead of being live action. They used the medium to do a bunch of awesome things, but it didn't have to be that. It's just a compelling story. And Slam Dunk is exactly that. This could have been a live action story. It's like using the medium to do awesome things, but it doesn't have to be anime. There's nothing quintessentially anime about it. Sports anime as a category is a vibe, you know, overall, but so are sports movies, right?
Sure.
Any Remember the Titans, Bad News Bears type story. You're familiar with how those things go. So yeah, it follows.
And I'm not
along.
a sports guy either, but I've watched a number of those movies and found things to enjoy because there's like a story that makes me invested, even if I don't really know the sport that well.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And here, there's little moments where, because it's a movie, you can tell that, like, oh, if I were reading this or if I were watching the show, they would stop to talk about the foot position of when the center puts his foot outside so that he can turn for a layup or to catch a rebound, and the characters notice that his foot is on the outside. Like, that could be a whole explanation moment in an anime or so. But here, they just call attention to it, the character notices it, and you, the viewer, go, oh, that's significant? Okay. and then we move from there, you know. And again, the game is told through the lives of the characters, and then they go back and they show you enough that you get the deal, you know. And it's just great. It's just really well done. The first slam dunk.
Cool.
Anyway, so that's pretty much all I wanted to gab on about. So gonna be doing I'm continuing to play FF16 right now. Yeah,
Pikmin or no?
Pardon me?
Are you gonna play Pikmin 4 or no?
Probably not. I haven't played any of the Pikmin games. So not likely. Not likely.
Bro,
Okay.
So Pikmin's coming out, and I have had so many people ask me, because apparently Pikmin is like way more popular than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a relatively niche Nintendo property, because I know it's not Mario or Zelda, right? But people are crazy about those Pikmin.
It's a great series. I will tell you. Oh, sorry, Pat. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead. I can keep my thought.
It just essentially, it's just a fantastic series, and the new one is great. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
So, I see that, and I understand that, and so I think I think every stream last week I had like at least 5 or 6 people ask, "Oh, no Pikmin 4?" And I eventually just sat down and was like, "None of you want to see me play the Pikmin 4." And upon extra hassling, I was like, "Listen, I'm becoming a dad. I'm trying to become a more mature, reasonable adult. I look at the Pikmin and I see that it is a well-made game that people like and has things in it that people enjoy. But if you ask me about my feelings about Pikmin, I see that and go, that looks like a stupid game for idiots, and I hate it from its like when I saw it the first time, I went, look at this trash." Like, I don't, like, you talked about like first impressions earlier, Vinny.
Yeah, I hear you.
I cannot get past my first impression of, look at this stupid little space guy and these
With
stupid
his
little
bugs.
seed mans.
His bug
Like, I
seeds.
hate him. And I
Yeah.
remember when he was announced for Smash Brothers, I was like, "Ugh."
You're gonna see him a whole lot more.
Bro, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I
Yeah.
will not be playing on that Pikmin 4.
I'm pretty sure I would dig Pikmin if I got into it. I just never happened to get into it. I never happened to sit down and play it. But I'm pretty sure it'd be fun. I can see the appeal.
So I won't go on about it too much, but I will say that I had a similar first impression, Pat, like where Pikmin 1. Yeah, on the GameCube, I was like, this is stupid. Like, why is Nintendo not releasing good games and they're releasing baby games with stupid alien weird fellows? And then I tried Pikmin 2 because it was getting like rave reviews, and I had, again, it's not one of those AAA series from Nintendo that is it's AAA quality, but people don't know about it as much as they know about like a Mario or a Zelda or even a Metroid. But it has a very loyal and dedicated and passionate fan base. So I played Pikmin 2. Took me a little while, and I got it because it really kind of just starts to make sense, and then it's like, oh, this is a lot of fun. I want more of those little bastards. Anyway, played 3, really enjoyed that, and now I'm playing 4, and it is as good as it's ever been. So I totally understand, and I think the better conversation is, first impressions. Like, man, Pat, I've been in your shoes so many times for so many different things, and I'm going to be honest with you, and maybe this is something that you may not enjoy hearing, but a lot of anime had that effect on me.
Oh, no.
Especially like high school drama, slice of life anime stuff. So that turned me off to too much anime. Finally, I watched Akira. I was like, oh, I see. I get it. And then I watched some Miyazaki, and I was like, this is great. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Pat. You were saying?
No, you're right. Don't move past that first impression of anime.
Yeah,
you're right.
I see.
it's mostly a wash, like most of it.
Miyazaki
You're
did
not
say
wrong.
anime was a mistake. It's nothing but trash. So.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Like, and no, like it extends past into one of those. It becomes one of those genre distinctions where there are people that don't like a particular medium or genre, and then you go and then you discover people start talking about a singular work outside of that genre. So like Akira, right? People were talking about Akira like a movie when it came out. They weren't talking about, oh man, this new anime in the theater is cool. No, real humans were talking about the movie Akira in theaters.
Yeah.
Right?
So to be honest, I think I'm coming from a place where back in my college days, I was super in, and I was watching things that were anime because I thought anything anime was going to be good just because it happened to be animated. And that's what it was. And I remember when I was like keeping up with like seasons of new releases and stuff, and it was exhausting and not great. I was naive and I just didn't know. Nowadays, I feel like anime or not, whatever, it's just a medium. That's not the thing that like. It's not that it's anime, it's that it's a particular story that I like, as I would like a movie or a show or whatever else. It's a particular thing, and whenever I recommend something, I'm going to recommend like you know, I'm not going to say like, oh, go through, you know, this season of shit or what. But like, no, there's a show. There's like, my favorite show is Legend of the Galactic Heroes, right? That's a really great space opera. And if there's a great live action thing or a great book or something else that's covering that, it's like, I just treat them as different mediums, but ultimately the story and how compelling that is what stands out, you know?
It's just a way to tell a story. Yeah.
It's funny that you were talking about first impressions, because like when you were here last time and I was so embarrassed about PUBG and the Dead Cells, right? That was not the singular thing, but that started this weird journey for me where I was gonna look at things that I like initially swore off and then decided to like dive into them to some degree to at least see if I was completely full of shit. Because like famously enough, like I hated Demon Souls when I played Demon Souls. I gave Demon Souls 4 separate attempts across like a year and a half, and only on attempt 4 did it like clunk into place. And so that led to something like I played PUBG after you mentioned it on the podcast and really enjoyed it. And then that led to like all the way to like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll try League of Legends, which I enjoyed until the part where I was being ranked up against human beings. And then I was like, no, wait, this is exactly what I knew it was going to be, which is the nightmare that is other humans. So, like, that's why I make the distinction. I make, like, this big to-do of, like, oh, Pikmin 4 looks like it's the 4th game in a well-liked series that is clearly manufactured with care. It's just, like, the biggest thing I have trouble moving past is the aesthetic. Like, anything that I'm dealing with, if I'm, like, just repulsed by the aesthetic...
I know.
It probably doesn't have much of a shot.
I've been there, too. And I'll tell you what, the aesthetic of something can also be a draw. So I'm like, oh, that looks great. Yeah, I'm going to try that. And then I'm disappointed. The same way for anime, you know, like where you were like, okay, I really like this. It has to be good. I'm going to check it out. And you were exhausted, right? This is going to be a weird non sequitur to a degree, but classic rock in my late teens, early 20s, like, because I was into rock music, like from the 90s. And then I was like, oh man, Pink Floyd, you know, Zeppelin and all these like classic rock bands, Queen, and you're hearing all the best stuff. So like, and that's like its own weird, like kind of subculture of like, there's so much lore and stuff to learn about and concerts and live stuff. And then there's bootlegs and then there's albums that were released, but not overseas, you know? So I was getting really into that world, whereas some of my friends were getting into other things or even anime. But just because it is classic rock does not mean it is good. Usually the good stuff rises to the surface. That's what we remember 40, 50 years later. And then I'm listening to stuff that, you know, like I tried Steely Dan. I don't like it. I don't like yacht rock, whatever that is, whatever you want to. Some songs, sure. But like, just because it is described alongside the bands I liked, I found that I was getting like overwhelmed by how much stuff was not appealing to my sensibilities. I can appreciate some of that stuff now, but remember, there was so much stuff being played in the 70s and 80s and 60s that just ended up being forgotten about, and sometimes for the best and sometimes not. But you know, a lot of that stuff ended up just being dreck. That was just like, you know, we want to be the Beatles or the Monkees, so we're an even worse version of a worse version of the Beatles. So that stuff, yeah, you dig into that because it is also classic, does not mean it is good.
There's a real, like, boomer privilege of, like, them describing, like, man, back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s and 80s, all that music was so goddamn incredible. This new shit sucks. And it's like, okay, well, the only music that survived that era is the music that was good enough for people to give a fuck about and actually keep on analog media.
I was about to say that, like, for a lot of folks that are, you know, I guess in our age, it's like, if you're going back to your parents' collection, your parents kept the shit that was good, and they probably didn't hold on to the dreck, you know what I mean? Unless they, like, were hoarders or so. So a lot of that survives because, like, the selection of everyone as time goes on will make the cream rise to the top, so to speak, you know?
Yeah, and there will be a nostalgic rose-colored goggle glasses, whatever, rosy feeling for all the stuff that is good in a specific genre, whether it be anime, a video game, whether it be like, oh, Sega Genesis is the best because, you know, these are the games I grew up with. And I love Super Nintendo. I had that. But now, like, if I go and play a Genesis game now as an adult, I'm going to play the best of the best. And then I'll be like, oh, I understand why you felt nostalgia for this because it was awesome. But like,
there's only so many Genesis games that show up in these collections. It's like the same, like 25 to 30. Yeah. It's because, like, dude, there were like a shocking amount of terrible fucking Genesis and Super Nintendo games.
You bet
they were so bad.
I rented most of them.
Right. It's very important to, like, hit that point in your life when you understand that, like, you don't have to be dedicated to the entire genre that is anime. You don't have to be dedicated towards the Super Nintendo as a whole and everything it represents. You don't have to be dedicated to every single you know, like release if you're into dubstep or whatever. Like, you can literally like specifically go like, I'm into this specific thing. You know, you can have a discerning taste and not be represented and offended if someone's like, oh, I don't. If the entire broad genre of something is like not appealing to somebody, but there are like things that stand out that are appealing in that. Like, those things should be lifted up on their own merits. And like, it's been always weird whenever someone's been like past their 30s holding on to or defending, like we knew a guy that was like, the Sony PlayStation brand was his life.
Yeah, PlayStation Sim.
And well, and the guy I worked with, so two people like that actually. And
yeah,
like,
no, there was a guy I knew at college. Yeah. His name was PlayStation Sam.
PlayStation Sam was one of them. Exactly. And like, they would take offense to you saying anything about the brand itself. Like, it's a crazy way to be.
It still happens. It still happens. I just got a PS5, and I had people that were upset with me because I was a traitor by getting a PS5. Yeah, and in the same sense, well, to whoever other brand, but I will say, in the same sentence though, I also shit on Sony a little bit. I like, why do I have to have this? Because they bought exclusives. Like, you know, my PC is fine. But then I'm like, oh, this is a cool console. I just don't need it. And that was enough to upset people as well. So, I mean, there's really, people devote themselves to like a whole fucking brand.
I remember,
I
was talking to my wife in the car. My wife, Peach Saliva, whom I love here. She's not here right now. Darn. But I miss her. We were talking in the car, and I was like, people, the average person demands religion. They need an altar to worship at. And if that altar is not going to be like filled by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, then, you know, the fucking Green Bay Packers or Sony or the iPod will
just
suffice.
as well. Yeah.
Wow. And there is a serious, like, we don't even know what we're doing on this planet kind of thing. And it really easy to find comfort in the things that you grew up with, or the things that gave you that, like, understanding of the world around you. And when you hit that formative age, like, someone was like, we were talking about, like, because I've been streaming for like 13 years, and people were like, well, what's the best era of Vinesauce or whatever? And I'm like, I don't know, the one that you grew up listening to or watching. And
that's not the right answer. The answer is right now. It's never been better.
Thanks, man. I take it.
You can throw as much of yourself into the Sonic hole, and there will always be more than you need to fill your cup. That is an ever-flowing pour.
Sure.
For you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Well, in any case, just wanted to give a quick, as we switch over here, give a quick heads up. Yeah, schedule-wise, this week, if you're checking out on Woolie Versus, going to be continuing FF16. We also watched some viewer matches. So Don Pedro X of the Sixth Axis podcast, shout-outs, wanted me to check out some of his Cammy matches, so we did. Me and Reggie reviewed some of his Street Fighter 6 stuff, gave some advice at the platinum level he's at, and we're going to be doing that. So if you have some, if you want some tips, we're not like fucking god tier players, but we can maybe give you some advice if you're struggling in your ranks. If you can submit those to me, I don't know, like through X. You can X them at me. X me your CFN tag, and we'll take a look.
Give it to him.
Exactly. And we'll be taking a look at some of your matches in the future and giving some advice. Also, shout outs to Sir Meow Music. I jumped on the tournament that he had for Please Stop Talking. He was Pound Some Thugs, had a bracket, participated in that, did a round robin. Overall, had a good time. Went undefeated in the round robin, and then lost in grand finals to that blasted Salami. So that's how that goes. But it was a great time. Had some good games with everybody, and shout outs to those folks over there. It's any opportunity to get some Street Fighter. So this week as well, we're going to be doing another look at Double Dragon on Friday. So, stay tuned for that. And thank you, everybody, as well. The arcade sticks, the snack box micros for Get Into Fighting Games and for Woolie Versus are now sold out. So,
congratulations.
Thank you guys for copping those. That happened way quicker than I expected. In fact, I had one more raffle ready to go, so I'll still have that at some point quickly soon, because that's the only way to get it now if you win the raffle. But they're completely cleared out and ahead of Evo. That's really cool because obviously that's a big fucking important fighting game time coming up. So thank you guys. That's me.
Hey, I got a question for Vinny right before we move on, and I guess we should go into Vinny. So you've been playing 16, right? And you just got your third icon.
Yeah.
Right. So I had this overwhelming feeling when I got the third icon. Does it feel like once you get the third one and your slots are full that you have this emotional feeling, particularly with where the story is, where you're like, now the game has started? Like,
yeah. You know what? I will say that is where I saved last week when I was playing it, so I'm pretty much just at the beginning there, but it does feel like it's trying to find its footing and give you the whole overview of what this world is. And I didn't fully appreciate what was happening in the story or the world until I think that complete first act arc of get that third icon and everything. So I really like where the story's headed now, because I'm invested. I'm like super invested. It still doesn't, people are like, well, there's like various points I've heard, well, now it feels like a Final Fantasy. Honestly, yes and no. Yes and no. I don't care. It's a good game. That's all I feel about it.
What else was... Oh, right. I was also going to ask, hey, Vinny, what's your personal history with the Devil May Cry series?
DMC2 is best game. Please play.
All right, is that it? Is that it? The whole thing? Because I know that.
Yeah. Are you aware of that meme?
Oh, I watched that goddamn stream you did. I'm a big fan of having the timer run in the background and just it hit it. All right, we're done.
Yeah. Okay, here's my actual history with the series. I played a demo of DMC 1. I bought DMC 3. I have it on the PS2. I then played that, and then the most recent Devil May Cry I loved. And then when they re-released 3 on the Switch, I played that. Now, DMC 2 is a meme, obviously, because someone came into my chat and was like, "No, Vinny, this is the best game in the series."
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I did play it, and I had the timer, and as soon as I hit that 2-hour mark, I was done. So that's my history. I didn't play anyone I didn't mention just now. So
okay, so the reason I ask is because me and Woolie have been talking about 16 for weeks now, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is that Woolie and I are coming at it from a perspective of people who get every character action game that comes out and beat them on every difficulty, right?
Okay.
And so, when I beat 16 last week, and I've been running complaints about basically sleepwalking through the whole game.
That is what I've heard from a number of people.
And what has your experience been with that as somebody who is not a freak for this genre?
Yeah, so I played all the Bayonetta games as well and enjoyed them. I had a lot of fun with Bayonetta 2 in particular, but I enjoy the genre. I'm not the best at the genre, but I do end up clicking with the games, and I can do what I need to do. This game is still a little easy. I think I died one time so far. So yeah, it's not a very difficult game, and the mechanics are not overly deep. There's enough of them to keep me engaged, and I'm enjoying the combat, but I also can see where you're coming from. And I think for someone like me, I'm okay with it. Generally, it's not killing me that it's easy, but another option for someone like you would be great, someone who knows their shit.
There was something, I caught a clip of Woolie's stream that you did a couple days ago, Woolie, and you latched on to because I made this whole I've been talking for weeks, and the long and short of it, I'm like, Clive gets so much shit that's so good. He gets the best stuff. And Woolie finally encountered one of them. Is he got the limit break system, the Devil Trigger equivalent?
Yeah, I love that.
I watched him go down the list and read, if you have this turned on, you can't die.
You can't die. Yeah.
That's really strong.
Yeah,
That's really, really good.
Very much so.
There's options to make the game easier. They give you those pendants from the very beginning of the game. You get Devil Trigger, that you cannot die, but yet they don't give you options to make the game more challenging for people who actually know the genre well. So I find that to be a little bit strange.
Though, Pat, I will say that I was hearing, though, to some degree, that the bits with missing a phase and stuff on the bosses and some of the explosion builds were if you build around an optimized thing, which some people were saying you kind of, I guess, crafted a min-maxed super optimal situation there that that usually wouldn't happen if you were just kind of going at it.
I was
sub-optimized or willy-nilly in a way,
I have finally discovered the exact problem that led, the exact mental issue that led to that gameplay decision, right? So yeah, no,
Chat workshopped a crazy build.
No, they helped, but I would have gotten there regardless. The issue is, this is a character action game that is also made and produced by the team that brought you Final Fantasy XIV, a game that I play all the time. So here's the thing. In Final Fantasy XIV, when you're running a raid experience, every single part of your damage phase is, okay, everyone's 2-minute timer, you're going to plan so that all 8 people's biggest buttons all hit like usability simultaneously, so that you have everybody use their damage up button, everybody use their critical strike up button, everybody use their damage debuff button simultaneously, and blow every single resource you can within like a 20-second window. Just one massive burst every 2 minutes. And that's what the stagger system is in 16!
Okay.
When you get them staggered, save every single thing you have to just burst as hard as you can. And I'm so used to that in 14, and I saw the stagger system in this, and I go, well, I'll just do that. And guess what? That's really, really good in this system.
Okay.
Too good.
Yeah, way too good. They should have. I don't know. I don't know what I would change, but
I don't know.
Really good.
I think
good game though.
Yeah, I think well, I'll probably just end up grabbing whatever like abilities I think like feel the funnest.
There's a lot of cool shit.
Yeah, and like I'm just gonna prioritize that more than anything else as I go, and I imagine that should be fine. But yeah, there's still a whole lot of game ahead of, I guess.
There sure is.
We're both at, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, we're both in the same generally area. Yeah.
You guys both got like 70% to go.
And I've been playing like once a week, and I think I'm probably going to end up finishing that game in like 4 months. So that's just going to happen. It took me 2 months of several like 4-hour to 6-hour sessions of Tears of the Kingdom, and it was just 2 months of like 3 or 4 times a week. It was crazy. So
yeah, that's gonna be me with fucking Baldur's Gate in a fucking week's time, where I'm mathing out how long I'm expected to take, and I'm looking at like the 1st of January as my expected end date.
Hope you're doing side quests off camera, Vinny.
What, for Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I'm gonna avoid all except the ones with the plus. That's
a great idea.
Told me.
That's a great idea, Vinny.
Yeah, I've done a couple story ones. Like there's where you're at right now, Will. I'm gonna say I don't. Did you get to the castle yet?
Not yet, but I did some of the ones on the road to Moore that were like.
How about that?
Hey,
that's a side quest, huh?
Obviously, there's no accounting for taste, and anyone can feel free to disagree with me. The 2 side quests right outside the entrance to Moore are the 2 best side quests in the entire game.
Don't want to miss those.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Those are good.
Short.
They never get that good again.
Ah.
Oh man. You know what? I'll give a fucking like a golf clap for the other side quest in the town right before Moore, where the 2 guards challenge you to a fight.
Oh yeah.
And you combo them into oblivion, and they can't move, and like they're stuck in the air being auto comboed, having their like pretty good barks happen while they're suspended in midair.
And that's basically where you realize that the game follows the Yakuza logic of, like, cutscene, or rather, side quest murder into plot, like, don't tell anyone about this. That was embarrassing. And it's like, you eviscerated their skeletons. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
What else you been up to, Vinny, aside from 16?
Yeah, a lot of Zelda. I mean, there was the Viewfinder is actually a good game. I'm going to continue that. I was playing My Friendly Neighborhood, which is it's like a Resident Evil game, but on Sesame Street
with puppets.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Arlo does a voice in it, and it is a phenomenally silly game. I wouldn't say it's the best game ever, but it loosely follows the Resident Evil vibe. And, there's like safe rooms, there's the, limited ammo, and yet you're just killing puppets. The puppets get a little annoying after a while, but the game doesn't try to be like Gartan of Banban. You guys know about that, right?
I don't.
Oh, no. There's more.
All right.
I mean, I'm seeing Ernie from Sesame Street basically on the thumbs for this, but
similar.
Yeah. Gartan and Banban?
Gartan of Banban. Like kindergarten, apparently. It's Garten of Banban. It's one of those, it's basically baby, thing for baby equals scary.
Oh, I see it.
Okay.
Like
I'm
Huggy
looking
Wuggy.
at it.
Sure.
You know Huggy Wuggy? Yeah.
What if the Teletubbies tried to eat your balls? Got it.
Right, like children's entertainment, but horror. Right, okay.
Yeah, so this doesn't try to be that 100%. This tries to be more silly, but it's an okay game. I like it. So I've been playing those, and that's about it. If I think of anything else, I'd let you know. But at the moment, yeah, I mean, I'm still hungover from Zelda, and
and the engineering degree required.
That feeling of like streaming some absolutely massive gargantuan thing, and like when I beat FF16, I just like kind of sat there and like stared at OBS and was like, yeah, I did it! Oh, God! And it's this weird, like, not resentment, I don't know what to call it, but it happens to me every time I finish, like, a long-running series that takes, like, either a dedicated batch of weeks or, like, multiple months, in which I'm like, I really enjoyed myself. I don't want to see this shit again for a while. I don't even want to look at it.
Same, because I like variety. That's why I do what I do, and truthfully, like, I would prefer shorter games in general, but like once in a while an Elden Ring or a Zelda comes around and I have to, dig into it, and I'm cool with that. But like starting Final Fantasy 16 actually during Zelda was maybe a little bit of a mistake because too much. And I'll tell you what, it's one of my rules of thumb as a streamer is finish really crazily long game, do a bunch of one-offs or short games for like a couple weeks just to like feel like a human, and then maybe like figure out another longer game later.
I'm literally doing that right now. I finished 16 and I'm now going to be playing Baldur's Gate for like 5 months. So like what am I doing? I'm like looking at like one-offs for bullshit for a week or two.
I always have suggestions, by the way, Pat, if you need me.
Oh, you know what? I should hit you up for that, because I know every time I look at your channel, I have the overwhelming feeling of, oh, it's Zelda, or what the fuck is this?
That's that's my MO.
The recent period has been one of turmoil for me with like long game commitments and trying to figure out how to get them done in time. I've just like to play 16. I put FF9 on pause, right? And I very rarely put something on pause. Usually, I try to hit credits on just about everything I can, for better and for worse. But I think with the amount of stuff that's coming out and with the amount of things that are like worth taking a look at, even if it's in brief. I'm just gonna start doing that again. But there was a period of time where I did some quick looks that I wasn't too happy with the results of how those turned out. So I was like, maybe I need to figure out how to just make better picks on some stuff. But
me too.
The palate
and then
cleanser is important.
Sometimes you end up picking a game because your audience wants you to check it out, and then I don't want to not like the game because I don't want to play for like 4 or 5 hours and then be like, all right, well, I'm good. Like I never enjoy that. It's happened a couple times for sure, but unless I'm like, okay, guys, this is going to be a one-time stream just to check it out. If I'm like ready to check out a big game and then I do and then I don't like it, no, that doesn't feel good for like anyone involved.
Right.
So I try not to.
Yeah.
I was tricked by my audience into streaming Kenshi. And like that was like one of the most miserable experiences I've ever had on camera. And like I was like an hour and a half in and I had the wild disconnect of being like, oh my God, I want to just turn this shit off and go to bed. Oh my God. And then I look over into the chat and chat is like losing their minds. There's like, whoa, Kencho, yeah. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. This is awful.
Yeah.
I resent everyone who suggested this to me.
I remember
I feel that.
No, I do. I remember. I did a series of one-offs at a point, and like there was, I got. It was there was a concentration of negative feedback on how things went, and definitely some of that warranted on how I handled it. But I remember there was a discussion where essentially a number of people were weighing in, and the sentiment was kind of like, well, who are these for? Because if it's for people that are into the thing, but you're only looking at it in brief, and it's a longer thing that only gets started way down hours from where you stop here, what's the point of even diving in to begin with at all? And I was thinking about that, and I was like, that's a fair point, right? If you're not even going to scratch the like less than the surface on something, and then the scratch ends up being something that is like, this wasn't that great for or entertaining for anybody that like is even into this. Why bother? And I think
16 is a really good example of that, because if you did like 3 hours of 16, like that game takes like 2 sittings to like really get going.
Yeah. Germa only did one stream of it, and so people were like, I'm happy you're doing this, Vinny, because Germa, didn't. And it's like, well, obviously he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life. I get why he wouldn't want to dig into a 40, 50-hour game if it's not clicking. That happened to me with Death Stranding. I did not click with that game. I tried 3 times, gave up. But anyway.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a particular thing, for a particular. I enjoyed it, but like you have to be into that. I think what kind of brought me back around recently, especially, is just like, okay, if I'm overwhelmingly curious and interested in this subject matter, I'm going to take a look at it regardless for myself, because I just want to know what the fuck is going to go on with this new Armored Core game. I want to know what the fuck is going to be happening with Baldur's Gate. I want to know, and like that's it. I'm jumping in out of my own volition, and I'll play until I'm satisfied. But like that's after a couple years of dodging it, I'm kind of back to this point, I think.
I feel you. Hey, well, one quick question, and as a follow-up, Final Fantasy IX is in my top 10. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's my favorite Final Fantasy. Where did you get?
I got to so we cleared what would be the first disc, and then we went to that town where. I forgot the name of the town. Let me try to put it back together. A couple things were going on. Beatrix temp sort of joined for a second, and then Bermesia happened. We got past that. Black Mage Town is where I stopped.
You were
Black Mage Village Town with the cool music. Yeah,
that's where we stopped.
Love it.
The important thing is that you got to that fucking town where they force you to fucking play a Tetramaster tournament.
Yeah.
Trino.
We'll figure that out in time, I suppose. But the it's funny because like we stopped right in the Black Mage Town where we're like oh look, it's I want to find out more about Vivi. And then put it on pause, and then I walked into the field in FF16, and there's the scarecrows, and you got Vivi up on the cross, and I'm like, I'm sorry, kid, I'm sorry.
Good timing.
Yeah. Okay, Pat, anything going on?
Not that much. Some stuff. So the first of which I got sent a free code to play Remnant 2, so technically all my opinions on that game are sponsored. I really liked the first Remnant game. It was like, hey, what if you had like a third-person shooter that was just Dark Souls with like old-style Diablo levels? And Remnant 2 is, what if you had a much better third-person shooter that was just Dark Souls with old-style procedurally generated Diablo levels? Like, it is one of the most, like, hey, you remember that first game? Yeah, this is the second game, so it's better kind of game.
What if X was Dark Souls, but not in the derivative way?
Yeah, no, actually. Like, it works really, really well.
Okay.
It is a solid feeling shooter. It is a fun dungeon crawler. Like, I did a dungeon this morning that included, like, invisible paths to cross a bridge and... like finding illusory walls and holes in the floor to continue on, with good shooting, okay story. Like it's fine. It's interesting, but it's fine. And my like, if I had to give like a one sentence review, is that when I'm playing Remnant 2, I get a bunch of those good chemicals.
Okay.
Like
The
you know
dopamines and the endorphins.
Yeah, that very relaxing. I'm playing a video game and my brain is swimming in all that good chemical soup.
I like that.
I like it. It is
just
extremely not like coming off of FF16, which is like bombastic and exciting. Like I'm just like chilling playing this game, just
okay.
relaxing.
You made me particularly interested in this, whereas no other form of advertising has, and you're not even trying to advertise. So
it's just solid.
Cool.
It's got a good loop.
It has a really good loop. It has a really, really great loop. And it feels good, and it's fixed a lot of the problems that the first game did. The most interesting thing is, like, so usually you'd get, like, a Diablo-like game in which, like, okay, the levels are randomly generated, but you're going to go to the forest, then you're going to go to the desert, then you're going to go to, you know, whatever Zone 3 and Zone 4 are. When I started it up, I had people in chat telling me that they were surprised because I wasn't starting in the starting area. And I then looked into it, and all of the game's zones are thrown at you in a random order. And each one of those zones has like I think 3 or 4 different storylines with different areas that you go to. So despite me starting in the like forest world, the fact that I'm actually trudging through the forest instead of old ruins or underground is unique to this run.
Cool.
And it goes all the way to the point of when you go to the bonfire equivalent and you mouse over the planet or the dimension or whatever you want to call it, it asks you if you want to re-roll your campaign and try for a different story or a different set of zones for that area.
That's fun.
It's really interesting.
Hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored, hashtag influenced.
That's right. Thank you for the free video game. I got the game for free, so keep that in mind. I also decided that since I'm flush with a weird spot on my schedule, that I was going to start to play like older games, and I figured since I'm so excited for Baldur's Gate 3 that I would go back and show people the experience of what it is like to play Baldur's Gate 1. So I loaded up the enhanced edition and took an hour and a half to create a character, because I would go to run my stats and then go, no, back out, go to this guy's guide on GameFAQs, because nobody knows how to make an advanced Dungeons and Dragons character anymore. Okay, cool. Now enable the cheat console and hack in Boots of Haste to you, yada yada. But then got going and really enjoyed myself. But I was hit with one of those things that is like becoming more upsetting as I'm going on. Just a quick question. Vinny, how old are you?
38.
You're 38? Okay, I'm 37. I believe Woolie is 36.
Nope, 37.
You're 37? Oh, but your birthday's after mine.
Yeah.
In the same year. Right, okay. So, you're in November, right?
December.
Fuck it. Damn it. I can remember my mom's birthday and my wife's birthday.
That's fine.
Those are the ones that matter. And so here's the thing.
The pending one.
I was playing Baldur's Gate 1, and chat was going, wow, look how old it is. And I made the mistake of asking, how old were you kids when the Baldur's Gate came out?
Oh,
and
no.
I started to get negative numbers.
Yeah.
Like, not like I was 2. Like, -5. And I realized that when I'm playing a game from, like, the late 90s, so Baldur's Gate came out around the same time as, like, Ocarina of Time and Metal Gear Solid, right? That, like, this feels to these people like it did when my dad showed me black and white movies.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
especially, like, then go back to NES games, because I was playing NES. I was playing Mario Brothers 1 and 2 and the first Zelda when I was 3 or 4. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But, like, I remember a little bit of the 80s, a tiny little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, man, that's ancient at this point.
It's just,
Damn.
it just hit me right in the chest that, like, I remember watching black and white movies with my dad, and he's like, yeah, these were coming out when I was a kid. They're cool, right? I'm like, yeah, they're cool. Wow, they don't have color. And I'm playing, like, pixel games that came out on a PC in 98. And I'm going, look, isn't it crazy? There's voice acting. And they're like, no, it's not.
At the same time, though, we've talked about this. Like, anything released in 1998 is just automatically goated, you know? Like, that is pristine forever.
Man, what a great year that was.
What a fucking year. We do this bit every... This happens.
Year is shaping up.
This year is, in fact, shaping up. Hi-Fi Rush going forward. Right, absolutely. But 98, every 3-4 years, we have an episode where we just go, man, 1998, though.
Yeah.
It's a recurring bit.
That's just... And we were, like, since we're all around the same age, that was even better. Because I got Final Fantasy VII. In 1998 was when I got Final Fantasy VII. That was when I got my PlayStation. So combine that with all the N64 stuff, and it was just, and PC. That was also my PC year where I was getting Half-Life and Team Fortress Classic. And I don't know if TFC was out yet at that time, but I mean, that was just such a huge year for me as a 13-year-old, really putting myself into these worlds and like kind of maturing with the games as they matured. And like Ocarina of Time is perfectly emblematic of that, especially like Link's Journey, and then like the more mature storylines of Metal Gear Solid. And that's why it's so bizarre to me that David Hayter looks at me and is like, Vinny!
Right. Yeah.
And then he goes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that just mute the hog noise?
No, the hog.
Discord
No, we
picked
got
up
it.
the
We
hog.
got it.
We picked up the hog.
Good.
We got it.
Dude,
Anyway,
like
yeah.
I look back and like 98 was like, oh my god. I remember having this thought of like, holy shit, video games are the coolest thing. How are there people at my school that
who do not play video games?
Don't like this shit at all.
Yeah.
This is the bleeding edge, and it really was. But like also like as like a young person, like 1998 has like special significance because that's when I got my first job, which was bootlegging StarCraft CDs. Right? Like that's when I took my first step into becoming a man and making my own money by making like 150 copies of StarCraft for everyone at my high school because I convinced my dad we needed a CD burner for music.
That is wonderful. That is so fucking funny.
And I'm thinking back too, because it's like no matter where you turned, you were always overwhelmed. There was never any way to keep up with everything, but we all kind of did because we were renting games, right? You would
we sure were.
I mean, you're not okay. We were renting cartridges.
Yeah,
you know?
Dude. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, this is gonna be a weird poll. Woolie, do you remember that old man at the microplay?
Oh fuck yeah, Dave. Yes, absolutely.
The specific name? No, I mean the one where I used to live. You remember you ran in, there was an angry old man at the microplay that fucking hated everyone who went in when we went in to buy those KOF games in the PS2 bargain bin?
Oh, okay. That one. Yeah, that was your one. I didn't know your store as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you saw there was like a pissy off looking old man. So the reason he looked at that is that guy watched me rent like 250 PlayStation 1 and PS2 games, go home, and then come back 2 hours later from like 1998 to like fucking 2006.
Like, it's so wild because there was a video store called Oz that was in Laval when I was growing up, and they were the only place that rented PC games out. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, exactly, right? Renting a PC, like...
Never heard of that.
Well, thank you, then.
Now I have.
Yeah, and
it didn't last very long, man. It did not last.
It lasted very long, and they gave no fucks.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it's the place you must have gone.
Yeah, Oz was all about it, and they were like, yeah, go nuts. Absolutely. Here you go. Like, they knew, and everyone knew, and they were the only place in town doing it, but, like, any PC game you wanted to rent, you could rent it. And everything that means, you know? Like, it was insane that they got away with that.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
what a time.
There you go. 1990. There we go. We do the segment again. 1998.
Oh man. But
Cool.
so I'm doing Baldur's Gate 1, and I get like two questions that I really need to go into here on the podcast. I said it on that stream. I said it on my X. I said it. I'll say it here. I keep getting, because everyone's excited for Baldur's Gate 3. And they're like, do I have enough time to beat the first and second games before August? No, you don't. No, you don't. Shut up. Don't even ask that. That's stupid to ask. And then the other thing is like, do you think it'll be a direct sequel? No! They're not going to make a mandatory direct sequel to games that came out before you were born!
Right. Yeah. I only played Dark Alliance on the PS2. Dark Alliance 1 and 2, which was basically just 3D Diablo on the PlayStation. So
it was way better than it had any right to be.
Any right to be, yeah. Absolutely.
I think I saw screenshots of those and thought that's what mainline Baldur's Gate was or something. And
those were really popular.
And I think I got confused as to what Baldur's Gate was because of those games and there being more them being more Diablo-like, which then inevitably led to at least 4 instances of Pat losing his shit, screaming at me for whenever I thought Diablo and Baldur's Gate overlap, whatever the fuck it was.
Every single time I brought up Pillars of Eternity on this podcast, Willie goes, so that's like Diablo, right? I go, no! No!
I think I saw those PlayStation games, yeah. Okay, tell everyone what's going on your schedule, and then we'll take a break.
I don't know. I'll see you at the twitch.tv/PatStaresAt, and there'll be videos of me on it, and I'll say hello. And also tonight, if you're watching this podcast live, that'd be July 24th. I'm going to be over at twitch.tv/PeachSaliva around 6 p.m. Pacific, and the wife and I are going to play LA Noire.
Unless.
But as for my own channel, I don't know.
Unless.
Yeah, no. Hey, I just want to point out, this period of time is a nightmare. It sucks.
Yeah, I can imagine.
There's like a 4-week span that it could be like any minute or not, or any minute or not.
God.
Yeah. We usually do some halfway through plugs, Vinny, so anything you want to plug right now?
No.
All right. Great.
Thanks, though. I appreciate it.
No problem. Stare at that creepy-ass alien. And be thankful that I didn't choose the other picture.
Yeah, no, oh god, the other picture.
I don't like that.
I'll do one plug, and I'll just say that I hope everyone's doing okay out there, and take time to relax when things get tough. That's my plug.
Okay.
Oh, that's sweet.
Okay. Well, I'll plug the band Red Vox. Check them out.
Thanks, man.
All right. BRB. We'll be back. Alrighty.
Fuck. I just got jump scared by Vinny's fucking alien.
Yeah, you did. Alien jump scare. All right. Quick word from our sponsors. Let's see.
Who are our wonderful sponsors this week, Woolie?
Yeah, this week the podcast is sponsored by HelloFresh. So,
it's America and the world's #1 leading meal kit. I love you, HelloFresh.
Food in the mouth, mouth to stomach pipeline, important. Feeding, hunger, solved. You stay alive. HelloFresh. You get good.
Hey, get this. Maybe you're like me and you have a pregnant wife who's hungry, but her feet hurt and she needs food. And you're an idiot and don't know how to make the good food. HelloFresh send you the food. They teach you to make the food. You make the good food. Give it to hungry wife. Hungry wife happy. You're happy.
Feeding a hungry wife is literally like the most hunter-gatherer ass activity you could possibly do. And if you can't somehow do that, HelloFresh has got your back. Yeah, real simple, obviously. You've got the options to get yourself calorie smart or protein smart, or if you're vegan, vegetarian, whatever your dietary needs are, or if you just want something balanced, you got the available options to get some fresh ingredients delivered straight to your door. You can get pre-proportioned step-by-step instructions, so you don't have to figure it out too much. A simple card. So a couple of steps, and before you know it, you're done. And yeah, we've done that. We've had some tacos over here. It was a good time, and it was a real. They have the magic going where you open up the box and it's kept cold, and it's like, that's good for fresh ingredients. It's nice that they figured out how to use a mother crystal to use a shard to keep the food cold inside the box. That's the important part, the tech they got going. And nothing bad would ever happen by keeping your food fresh. In fact, your food will just be tasty as a result. Don't got to worry about anything or anyone turning to stone in the process.
Nope.
I have not had that worry even once making HelloFresh.
That's it, right? Be your own bearer. Get yourself some delicious dinners. And if you want to skip out on the hassle of groceries and the hassle of the cost and all that stuff, check out HelloFresh, and there are hundreds of items you can pick from and what you want to replace. It's been good stuff over here. As you can see, it's helping the hunter-gatherer and Pat continue to provide, and that's what's important. So go to HelloFresh.com/SuperBeast50. Use code SuperBeast50, and you're going to get 50% off plus free shipping. That's way too much. If it were up to me, I'd give you less than that, but they're giving you 50% off. How about that?
I don't know how they do it. These offers are ridiculous.
Go to HelloFresh.com/SuperBeast50 and use code SuperBeast50, and you're going to get 50% off plus free shipping. That's America's #1 meal kit. Thank you, HelloFresh. This week, the podcast is also sponsored by ExpressVPN, and let's see what we got this time. Okay.
My favorite VPN service. How's that for you?
Oh, yeah. I was using it literally yesterday because I wanted to be in Japan. And then the website was like, well, you're not. And I'm like, lol, lamau.
Yeah, am I not?
And that was that. Okay, here we go. What's the premise? We've got a couple. I liked the 12-year-old hacker at McDonald's. That was always good.
I'm a big fan of the ExpressVPN premises they send over. These are always great.
Okay. So, what do we got here? I know none of you watch porn, but just in case any of you have friends that do, you'll want to pay attention to this. With everything going on in the world, governments have increased their surveillance, and they're tracking your location movements in countries and your internet activity. You don't want to be literally caught with your pants down. Man! Okay, first of all, no cowardice.
Yeah, right? No, they know. They know what you're using it for.
Anyways, you use your services as you would, but hiding your porn, that ain't one of those uses that I need, certainly. I will get a projector on my fucking monitor to broadcast that shit on my neighbor's house. because you all need to see this shit. It's awesome.
Or on a tall building in New York City.
Exactly. You guys need to see this shit. It's great. You'll be super into it. It's dope.
Woolie, I didn't think this was a very appropriate use of your first time using the drones.
We gotta work our way up to it, but don't worry. Everybody can check it out. We don't need to worry about that. The stuff you do want to worry about is your data being tracked so that ads can show you stuff that you're not into. You know, the stuff you're into, everyone's like, hey, we can broadcast that all we need to, but trying to use ads to figure out and target you and shit because your ISP sold that data, that sucks. So boo on that, and boo on your streaming service telling you can't watch something because of where you live. I fart on that, and I say use ExpressVPN, because then you can just be in New Zealand if you need to be, and that way you can play the game 24 hours ahead of time. It protects you from all kinds of snooping on your data, and it gives you access to locations that you otherwise couldn't. And basically, that is worth its weight in gold, because a lot of places are really shitty about us being in Canada, and I hate it.
That's true. Oh boy, they hate it.
So very much appreciating ExpressVPN and the ability to bypass all that garbage. You can protect your privacy today. Get 3 months for free of ExpressVPN by visiting expressvpn.com/superbeast. That's expressvpn.com/superbeast for 3 months free with a 1-year package. Once again, expressvpn.com/superbeast to learn more.
Love you, ExpressVPN.
Yes. No shame here. No shame. What do we got here? This week, the podcast is also sponsored by DoorDash. And, you know, there's two concepts, really simple to understand. There's the door, and then there's the dashing. Now, a door
I have an even better concept for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have my phone in my hand, right? I am now hungry. I will now slap my phone. Food now.
Yes, this is good. This is good.
Food now.
I'm saying that a door is important because that keeps all the garbage out there from getting inside here. You need that. That's important. We got to get your door up. And then dashing is super cool. When you dash in anything, it's important to feel good. You know, you want to press forward or press the dash button. Dashing is fast. It's responsive. You put the two together.
As good invuln frames.
Exactly. You want to drive rush that food over as fast as you can. And if you're Rashid, you can get it over real quick because his is ridiculously quick. It's going to be a problem. But the point is this. Food to door as fast as you want it from the places you want it from. If you've got a local favorite, if you've got some mom and pop shops in the neighborhood that you like to eat at, if you got any go-tos that are your favorite chains, they're probably going to be on the DoorDash app because they've got over 300,000 partners that they're working with. So yeah, give it a shot. You might see something in your neighborhood that you haven't tried yet. I've found new places in the neighborhood that I didn't know just by scrolling down that list and seeing what's up. So be sure to check them out. But you don't just have to stop with the food. You can get your convenience store needs taken care of. You can get any little, forgettables or things that you might have run low on. I got some
so like
paper towels the other day.
I'm in a temporary location, right? We just got here. Guess what I forgot? I forgot my toothbrush. Right? So you know what I did? I went, listen, man, I don't want to get up off my ass. I just want to hit these buttons. And then a nice man brought me shampoo and a new toothbrush and some body wash. And I was like, thanks, man.
Left, and they leave it at the door, and then they just ghost out of there, just in and out. They flash. It's awesome. So yeah, you can shop DoorDash for everything you need for back-to-school seasons, delivered right to your door. Order now for stress-free back-to-school shopping using the promo code CASTLE, and you'll get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more at convenience, grocery, or retail stores on DoorDash. Once again, 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more with the promo code CASTLE, code CASTLE for 50% off your next order. Terms apply. Thank you, DoorDash.
Thanks, DoorDash. I love you.
And we've got another one in here. Last but not least, this podcast is also sponsored by Factor.
Factor?
That is the meal kit that you can get for flavorful and nutritious ready-to-eat meals straight to your door. You save time, you eat well, you can stay on track and reach your goals. If you've got a busy summer.
Will this help me get rid of this fucking tire around my dick?
Yeah. I mean, if you've got all kinds of unwelcome growth on your body, you should probably do something about that. And seeing your doctor is probably the top of that list. And your doctor can look at your body and say that your body's pretty cringe, bro. Your body's not very based at all.
Yeah, it's not.
No. But what you can do is you can start eating well, and you can get yourself the nutritional quality you need. And that's where Factor can help you with healthy meals, fresh, delivered straight to you, never frozen. And, as someone who has recently been on a health journey, and I've been, learning to eat better and losing some weight, getting into better shape, and overall feeling better, I'll tell you that, cutting the junk out.
Do you feel gooder?
Feeling gooder is a relative term, but I am less dying.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
So, more important than feeling gooder is less dying. And so if you want to be if you want to be less dying, you should be trying to work on what you eat and how you eat it and the amounts and such. So Factor's got you covered. They got calorie conscious options, calorie smart meals. You got stuff that's less than 550 calories per serving in some cases, and overall keeping track of your goals with an easy to use service like this will definitely help. So you can head on down to factormeals.com/castle50. Use code CASTLE50 and you'll get 50% off. That's code CASTLE50 at factormeals.com/castle50 and you're getting 50% off. Again, a ridiculous amount.
50% off?
I can't believe it. If it were up to me, it'd be less. You're lucky. You're lucky it's not up to me. Thank you, Factor.
That's ridiculous. Love you, Factor.
All right. What's going on in the news? We got
busted.
We got a good amount of the details out of the way. We touched on Glorbo and we let everyone know about the new exciting Glorbo news.
How excited we are for Glorbo? Yes.
We definitely X'd it out there.
By the way,
I've been glorbing so hard.
As of 5 minutes ago, we're no longer tweeting. They are now going to be called Zeets.
I saw that. No, I think that was fake. Pat, that was fake.
Come on! It's not. You're lying. Pat, you're lying.
Check the comments, Pat. I feel like Walter White in that one meme image where he's in a car. Check the comments, Pat.
Lies.
It's not real, Pat.
No way. Nope.
So this is a great situation. Because this happens to me every now and then where I'll see something and I get fooled because it's fake. And now I'm now settling into, I don't even care that it's fake. It's stupid enough that I'll believe it.
Welcome to where the rest of North America has been over the last couple years.
That's a good callback to earlier. But you know what, Pat? For you, I'm going to Zeet right now.
Yeah! Oh, thanks, buddy.
There you
I
go.
love you, man. You're a good guy.
Yeah. No. We X'd it up and X'd it out.
Fuck.
X is in fact gonna give it to you. Oh, getting Norded? How about that?
We're all Norded.
All right. No, we touched on that already. So how about this, right? You know what was cool about 1998? All those games that came out?
That's right.
What was awesome was that if you got any of those games, you might still have them physically.
That's true.
And at no point would, I don't know, let's say Ubisoft come to your house and grab all your games and throw them out the window violently, and then slap you in the face, kick you in the balls, and leave. Right?
Such a nice company. So cool and nice.
What do we got? So apparently, after a period of inactivity, it is confirmed that your Ubisoft account can be suspended and then permanently deleted, taking your entire game library with it. Anything you've purchased would be lost forever. This was confirmed by Ubisoft on X underneath in the comments. Basically, showing that it doesn't matter what kind of library you've built up. If they give you a warning on your account and you don't answer within 30 days, fuck you and the money you've spent. Eat shit. There then was...
Wait, 30 days?
So, not 30 days of inactivity. A period of inactivity for an extended period of time. I think there's a number, maybe years. I think it was they're saying maybe 4 years or something like that. And if you get an email from them warning you that within 30 days they're going to delete your account, you have to go use it within that period. Otherwise, they will delete them after the notice. The status of whether or not you've purchased something doesn't affect it in any way. And some clarification was given, and they're saying hypothetically there could be a regulation where the General Data Protection Regulation in the EU has laws about having to not hold on to user data after a certain amount of time. So part of this can be in response to them trying to get around violating those laws. At the end of the day, the fact that you can spend money on a service and then over time they can take that away from you simply for not using it is fucking horseshit.
It's ridiculous.
That is insanely garbage and needs to change, whether it's their policy or the GDPR. It's insane, and it's just another thing, as we always talk about, the data preservation and digital libraries that are becoming more and more ubiquitous. Fuck off with this. Why would I ever want to buy something through your store now, knowing that I can come back to it later and just have it taken from me, especially if it's buying DLC, if it's a game that is particularly asking you for a commitment to it or anything like that. That is insane. Your digital ownership is not worth shit.
Stake. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was just having a conversation about the movie stuff, like TV shows being removed from streaming services and movies being removed from streaming services, and it's that doesn't even seem so bad compared to this. The fact that this is so egregious that it makes that look okay is mind-numbing to me.
It really causes this intense feeling. It's okay, so this is about Uplay specifically?
This is about the Ubisoft account.
Ubisoft account, which is for Uplay, right? So that's
by
part of it. Orders of magnitude, the worst of all those services already.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's terrible. And it's the only time I ever had a game on that is when I got a free game for a video card or some shit like that, or you'd buy it on Steam and then be well, yeah, but we have to start up the fucking Uplay to fucking do it. And I'm just thinking, if I own a game on Steam, but then it links into the Uplay account, are they going to delete it off my fucking Uplay account? And then, but I'll have the game on Steam, and then it'll go to connect to the Uplay account, and then it'll tell me to go fuck myself?
Okay. I'm looking at an update to the story that's saying that this is only accounts that have no games on them as of 4 hours ago.
Is it a backpedal or
so
what does that
see.
mean?
So because the initial tweet thread, the initial X thread was one where they confirmed, Ubisoft confirmed directly that they would be deleting your account after 30 days after warning you. So they have that. Now this article is saying, as I'm looking at it, accounts that include purchased PC games will not be eligible for deletion. As the update to the story comes in now. Yeah. Okay. All right. There you go. So that is at the very least not them robbing you blind for your purchase. So that's a way better than I thought.
Yeah.
Update.
But also, well, to kind of springboard on what we were talking about earlier, that first impression, that initial shock of that story is so bad that's already probably hurt their stocks. Like, like that's just one of those things that's just going to get spread around. And even if there is some clarification, it's not going to matter because people already have made up their mind. And Ubisoft, let's be honest, has not really won that many people over lately. They've definitely done as much as they could to erode a lot of goodwill. And
I mean, what,
to say the least,
what goodwill, right? Like that shit's been gone, I feel like, for
a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so backpedal or nothing burger, I don't know. I'm trying to scan the article as we read here, but the idea that, of course, we're like the fact that on a regular basis there are stories about your like digital ownership like being treated like fucking garbage on like we've reported on so many variations of this. Anything with cloud ownership, anything with Stadia or with Luna, all of that weird shit where like you've purchased a game but all you get is the metadata once the service goes down or once anything. There was the entire Amazon services thing that like ended up with people losing anything they purchased within a couple hour window and like no refunds on that. There's a million little things like this. So like it's not surprising when you hear this kind of thing, because I know that like we're going in this direction, right? They don't hate it when something you bought digitally has to be rebought a generation later. They don't hate it when backwards compatibility doesn't become a thing. It's completely the way things have been going and it's a trend that's fucking anti-consumer as shit. It sucks.
And those anti-consumer trends just keep coming. And also, like, again, the streaming services, let's not forget about how much money people spend, in a year on all these different services. And it's like, let's talk about the Nintendo like virtual console versus what we have now, where we don't know how long that's going to be around for. And we've already dumped hundreds of dollars into it. So yeah, I mean, it's tricky. And just to add to what you said before, just as a general sentiment, I'm also big on preservation, whether it be finding a way to do that digitally, if there's no other way to do so, of course, and or keeping physical media. And I do collect vinyl, and I'm not like crazy about listening to the music on vinyl. Sometimes I do for the ritual of it, but it is nice to have a physical thing that I purchased from an artist I really appreciate. So yeah, good to have that in case it's removed. Dude, Neil Young took his music off Spotify. He had his reasons. I understand them, but like, that's one of my favorite artists. By the time it was taken off, I had like 5 Neil Young records, and those are my favorites. So now I make it a point to just listen to those, and that's an okay way to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, the collection behind me is like the physical, my favorite soundtracks that like were released in a digital era. Like I never thought that there'd be an opportunity to get them physically, and I'm super happy that that's a possibility now. I also love the fact that the packaging and casing are just an amazing artwork, like size and great for presentation and things like that. But
yeah, I love that shit.
Yeah, it's a fun thing that I'm really happy it came back around. I just kind of like, I know that my shelf space has gotten more limited. I'm being much more selective about anything physical that I do hold on to. I was very resistant to digital for many years, and like I've now given way because you kind of have to, especially if you're trying many things. We play and stream online, and like,
yeah, I mean,
we have to.
I made the decision when I moved a while ago, and I was looking at the fucking multiple bookcases of 360 games that I was dealing with. I'm like, I can't just keep doing this. Like, it's not feasible.
It's not feasible, yeah.
So, yes, I do own a record player. It's it's downstairs and it's great. But the fact that just like every subsequent generation is just going to be more and more like, you don't own this game, you don't own this data, you don't own any of that. Buy it a second time, buy it a third time, right? Like fuck off with that, man.
Yeah.
Or
or anything.
Have your friend lend it to you.
Or
remember, that was speaking of events that like, I mean, we're going all over the place here, but do you remember that conference where Sony just was like, and this is how you play games from your friends on a Sony console? I'm probably butchering it, and the guy just hands the game to another person, just as a response to Microsoft. I don't think that was probably like one of those moments that actually Microsoft has still probably not recovered from.
No.
Oh, we talked about this a little while ago, where I was talking about an interview with Spencer where he described that everything about that was the most disastrous thing that could ever happen to Microsoft, because as a result, everybody built their digital libraries on PlayStation, and no one's ever going to move off those digital libraries ever.
And at the time, the Xbox 360 was basically winning the generation, and they were the default console that everyone was on. And so when they were looking at the Xbox One, they basically like brought out this digital ownership shit and immediately turned everyone the fuck off. And like that dunk was like so obvious. It was not planned by Sony in any way, shape, or form. But as a result of that, that hurt their. It was 2013 is when that happened, and they never recovered from that.
Crazy.
Two gens later,
Yeah.
And even the backtrack didn't go. Didn't spread as wide as the initial story did, certainly.
And that's just how that happens, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Every time. Okay. Couple other quick things going on. One, again, talking about digital games and things like that. Gundam Evolution is shutting down. That fucking sucks. I don't know if you saw this at any point, but Patty, I don't know if you remember, I was talking about it. It's the Overwatch like
I played Gundam Evolution. I can't believe it's shutting down so quickly. Thank you, darling.
It came out last September, and it's a better Overwatch 2 than Overwatch 2. It sucks that this is happening. Like it was such a good game. But
I don't think that's true. I think it was a cool game. But like it felt really pay to win. And all the monetization shit on the colors for those Gundams were ridiculous.
They split the cosmetic shit up a bunch, but pay to win in what way? Because the suits you had. Do you just mean like the unlocking of the initial suits?
I mean the unlocking of more suits.
Okay. Because the biggest problem I remember was like ranked just never worked, so everyone had to play casual for
that's
match,
true also.
And that fucking sucked. But the game, when it was running, when it was actually being played and you could use your units and play properly, it was so much fun. I had so much fun with it, man. Especially
Did it even make it a year?
No. It came out last September.
Jesus Christ.
It bums me out because the potential as well to unleash a bunch of cool other suits with like different playstyles, because I'm always interested in like the melee character in an FPS type thing, and I like seeing how you go about that. And this game had like instances of that were really fun. Overall, I had a bunch of fun with that, like, and I tapped out somewhere mid Overwatch like seasons. And this was the first time coming back to team shooter like that, and that I had fun with it. Well, I mean, whatever. I'm not talking about like battle royale, but bummer and sucks. That's just another game that's a flash in the pan, less than a year, and you either saw it or you didn't, and it's gone.
Right.
It's kind of
and for the people that like it, it's there's a lot of games that have just died. Like you can't even play them anymore.
Can't even play them.
I mean,
you know,
if we're talking about preservation and like
Yeah.
a bunch of games like that have an online component are just functionally dead. Like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14 and FF11, they're probably not going anywhere. But like, I don't know if you can still play a game of fucking Monday Night Combat.
Any
That game ruled.
Yeah, any game that's just like an online environment is going to be obviously like often time limited. But at least if you go back old enough to certain generations, there's people that have like worked hoops to like run private servers, so that you can still get a game running. Period. You can still touch the thing. You know. There's
Fuck! A Rumbleverse. Rumbleverse just happened.
Oh yeah, Rumbleverse for sure. You know, and we went in on depth on that game and everything about it. But like, yeah, it just
And
anytime
Babylon's Fall. Wow, a lot of people are mentioning a lot of games.
I forgot about Babylon's Fall. There's
less than a year for all of them. Less than a year.
And people have to make their own servers if that's even possible. As some games, you cannot do such a thing.
Yeah, I mean they figured it out with Titanfall 2, and God bless, you know, they got some cool shit going over there. But it just sucks that like it's like you can hit a point where a game will just be like, oh yeah, that is effectively a title screen to future generations. You know, you can watch videos of it on YouTube that existed for a couple of months, and you can try, you know, like maybe hitting a login screen, but like that's about it. When that goes down, it's down for good.
I remember, and I feel bad because I can't remember the person's name, and I can't remember the games they're talking about. But it was a game developer that I believe worked on like the system side that described that despite working like for 10 years in the business and shipping like multiple games, nothing they have ever worked on is actually playable.
Jesus Christ.
And like that's also terrible for like a CV or a resume purpose.
Yeah,
because you're
really
like,
is.
hey, what did you do? Oh, well, I did the system on this game you can't see and can't check out yourself and can't look at.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, this is huge for when you're in the industry. Your resume, like a lot of studios, it depends on the size of the studio and what your rights are and when you sign on. But major projects, you are not able to show your work off unless it's public. So if you have project that you say you've worked on, but it's just like untitled project for this 3 or 4 year stint or whatever, like you're still under NDA. You can't really give any description of it. That's not gonna super help you, except for like, you know, implying that like, oh, you were a part of a larger thing. But overall, like, if you're trying to get hired and your resume is like anything that Amazon has bought, any studio that Amazon's bought over the last decade, for example, like, you never even get that, like, the feeling of just like, oh God, it's finally done, yay, that relief, you know, that ability to like enjoy something that you've touched going public. Like, it's fucking horseshit.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, there is an upside. There is a real upside to this. Are either of you familiar with what's known as the Circuit City trick?
No.
What's that?
So the Circuit City trick is the first time I remember hearing about it. And other people may have other names. So Circuit City went bankrupt, right? And Circuit City no longer exists, right? So if you were applying for a job within like the 6-month period of Circuit City going bankrupt, you could just be like, yeah, I was a manager at Circuit City at this location.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And there's no one to call, and the fucking thing doesn't exist anymore, and there's no way to verify. You can do that for Twitter now.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you can do it for games that you didn't work on, and you just say you worked for a third-party company that was not in the credits. Right? Because I know, Woolie, you've worked on like 100 games that you're not in the credits for.
I've worked on fucking hundreds of games that I'm not in the credits for. Like, it's insane. When I made that, when I sat down and looked at the list, it's like, yep, the shame of telling everyone that you hired a QA company is undefeated. You know. Thing is,
I worked on the WildStar. I was a systems engineer on WildStar. Yeah, totally.
Now, here's the thing. If you're playing this gambit, you better fucking have a follow-through, right? If you do a fast serve, you better be able to play at the net, because when you 2 weeks in are looking around like, what do I do? What is that? What a data?
man.
What? Like,
just fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Some roles you can do that in. A producer role, you can fake the fuck out of that. You can walk around the office and go, "Hey, what you working on?" And then they'll give you an update and you go, "That's cool. Hey, what you working on?" "Oh, that's cool." And then go back to your boss and be like, "Yeah, so I spoke to A about working on A, and like, he's getting along with that. I gave him some good ideas about it. And I even was bringing in some of the ideas from B and what he's working on over there. And I really think these two, they're going for there. These are some good features, So that's what my day was spent on, with working on.
You know what you could do, right? You could just like walk around and then go take a shit. And then come back to your boss and say, "Yeah, Jennifer's really got the voices going real good," and just make up the whole fucking thing. And see how far you get.
Yeah, we're gonna circle back around to that. We're gonna circle back, and we're gonna work on seeing if we can just accentuate and
accentuate synergy.
The synergy is important, right? We got a groundswell. We got some momentum going. We want to keep that momentum. We want to, just etc. And just say nothing for an entire email and spend your entire afternoon doing that for a while, and before you know it, bam, head producer.
Yeah, just say words that are not in the Bible. Also, another thing I was going to say was, you ever see Catch Me If You Can, the Spielberg movie about the famous liar Frank Abagnale? It's come forward recently that a lot of the stuff in that script, which was based on his book, was also lies. So he was such a con man. He was such a con man that he conned most of his life into a book that eventually Spielberg directed as a film.
That is also a
Spielberg,
con.
Which was also a con, which either makes him the biggest liar or like the most successful liar, or what's the difference?
Yeah.
So absolute insanity. Yeah.
We run a segment called Hustle or Scam. That is the purest hustle. God bless.
That's good.
Worked for him.
We respect the hustle.
What's funny is that I remember hearing a story about bits of that narrative that they were going to include in the movie, but had to cut due to being absurd.
Right.
And that feeds into that. But the one that was specific was they wanted to showcase his earliest scam, which was standing dressed up as a security guard outside the safety deposit box of a bank with a sign that says "Deposit box closed, give to the security guard." And supposedly they're like, "This is ridiculous," but they filmed it at a real bank, and people started to show up and start to give Leonardo DiCaprio their fucking envelopes.
Damn it.
Jesus. Yeah, it's like, you ever hear about the idea of, those like reflective vests?
Yes.
Like that construction workers
wear?
wear?
Yes, I've heard this before.
Yeah, where it's just keep one on you, and you can like walk with intent pretty much anywhere. I would say if you wish to double that, carry around a walkie-talkie.
So
vest
I remember,
and a ladder. High vis.
Yeah.
The ladder is the
high
the
vis
killer
and a ladder.
Okay.
Those two will get
ladder.
you into anything.
I didn't know about the ladder one. That's interesting.
Who's
gonna stop you? For what reason? They don't have the of course the manager.
I forget, it was
has work
YouTube channel that just said, "Hey, how many places can we walk into that need security clearance if it's just two guys carrying a ladder?" And the answer is every single place they tried.
Yeah. A clipboard and be dirty as well. Sure, absolutely. Like, make sure you got some scuff. You've been working hard. Yeah, I mean, there's that great one with the there's two guys that printed out an ad for McDonald's with them on it, and they just hung it in a McDonald's with them just sitting there eating burgers, and it was just graphic designed in a very generic McDonald's ass way, and it stayed there for years, and nobody ever noticed or thought for a second about it, because one day someone just brought it in and hung it, and it looked like it belonged,
there was a recent one where I forget what field it was. It might have been like in a school or maybe a hospital, where someone had a picture of Cillian Murphy printed out, the guy who's playing Oppenheimer, and they had it up for 6 years alongside photos of other like famous physicists or doctors. I'm getting the story, I'm butchering it, but
wow.
Only when the movie Oppenheimer got traction did someone notice, oh, that's an actor. So, yeah, you can do. I used to in my college. I used to print out fake flyers for like events that weren't real because I don't know. I was a dumbass, but one of them was Bring Your Pet to School Day, and
oh man,
yeah, I don't think it worked, but I just wanted to let you know about that.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
that's adorable.
So chaos then.
It was a little chaos, but it was nothing harmful chaos. It was just like fun. You know what I mean? Have you seen this bird? Stuff like that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you wanna dive deep into like old psychiatry nerd shit, the ultimate version of this, you can check out the wildly unethical experiments of Stanley Milgram on obedience.
Ah, the Milgrams. Yep.
Oh, Milgram. I heard that name. Hang on.
Where they
Google
just
that.
have a guy in a lab coat tell you to shock the absolute fuck out of somebody, and you'd be astonished.
Yep.
And
yeah, that shit's crazy.
That's combined with something I discovered one year at Halloween, which is you can just go buy a lab coat.
Mm-hmm.
I just walked into the McGill University bookstore and bought a lab coat and then walked out wearing a lab coat on Halloween day. But I kept it for a while. I could have done crimes. I decided not to.
And I think in France, like it's like the law that you have to have a high vis vest in your car trunk or something like that. So there's places where it's like everyone has one anyway. But yeah. Incredible. That's the
interesting stuff.
Confidence is just the key to everything.
That's true.
A couple other things going on. So I remember the ads for Earthbound back in the day that were the scratch and sniff to smell a gross thing ads. Do you remember those in like EGS or GamePro magazine? Let's fucking turn the beat back. The first ever pizza-scented Xbox controller will be releasing for the Ninja Turtles movie coming out.
Oh my god.
And the photos for the promotion include shots of people sniffing controllers amicably.
This is...
Yeah.
So does it make your hands smell like pizza?
Of course it does.
Oh my god.
Because
that's
really,
terrible.
how better to let everyone in your vicinity know that you're a gamer than to make sure that your controller permanently smells like pizza.
Wow.
So I don't know where to stand on this. On the one hand, I just find it repulsive and disgusting on its face. On the other hand, I feel like upset that like Halo didn't get this shit out of the way first with their Doritos
limited
promotion.
edition Doritos and Mountain Dew, unfortunately, did not come with the smell of gunpowder.
That's what it should have been. It should have been the smell of Doritos with drops of Mountain Dew on it.
On the controller itself. I don't disagree. But
like,
yeah.
I buy new controllers when they start to feel disgusting and greasy because I'm a freak. And I care about that. The idea of buying a controller that smells like someone pre-greased it is so it's repugnant.
I mean, scent-based marketing of any kind whatsoever is just always the worst and will never, ever, ever be a thing. But it'll certainly serve to get us to fucking talk about it, because that's the purpose this is serving at the end of the day. You know, so God bless Ninja Turtles. Now everyone's paying attention. But yeah, I'm just like the I remember that scratch and sniff ad in particular for Earthbound, and like how it went down as like, I think it was like one of the most infamous game ads. Like it's on the list of like most of them, because it's like it was like scratch for the smell of boogers, scratch for the smell of gym sock.
Yeah, that one was effective.
I think so. We're all old men here, and we can remember. I'm sure I've talked about this before, but the period of the mid '90s is when like a bunch of high-powered ad men just had no idea how to sell video games at all, and so every ad was like, "What are you, fucking stupid and gay? Buy Mortal Kombat."
No, of course. Like Donald Draper.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Is sitting in his fucking office yelling and going like, we need to have a picture of a nerd rejecting a hot woman to play his games and yelling "Be gone" thought essentially before that was a thing.
Right. That and also gross out humor. Like one of the things I do on my stream, against my better judgment, is check out old ads, like commercials. Right? So I do that once every, I don't know, maybe once a month, once a little bit more than that. But basically, I divide them into segments now. So I got classic game commercials, just weird whatever commercials, regional, and then mobile game ads is its own cursed category.
Mobile game ads are so much worse.
They're the worst, Pat. They're the worst. I hate them. I hate them. But essentially, I played, I'm watching these commercials and I'm like remembering, oh wow, the 90s, the gross out humor, especially from like 93 to 99, just like puke and boogers and like quick cuts and lots of slime.
Watching this man inflate and eat himself to death will surely make me want to buy Yoshi's Island.
I have that commercial. Yeah, that one is a classic, and that's also based on Monty Python. But yeah,
it's disgusting.
It's gross. So yeah, that was a very specific time.
Oh, my brain just auto completed a memory that I haven't thought about in years. Do you remember that voice recorder that like one of the big selling points was to keep your sister from getting laid by pretending that the parents were home early?
The talk boy from the Home Alone.
Home Alone?
The Home Alone talk boy.
Like one of the
I'm home
we're
early.
Home early. Yeah. And then your sister would be like trying to kiss her boyfriend, and they'd be like, "Oh no!" And then the kid would be on the fucking staircase going, "Ha ha ha! My sister's never gonna get laid."
Yes, exactly. Like gross out sister humor marketing was a massive part of the 90s. Whether it's like making your own bugs, making slime to throw on top of her or whatever, then yes, right. all the way down to you will be a virgin forever, you will remain chaste.
Hey, what's the most recent out of touch of those that you can think of that is this style? Because the one that I think of, because it was way too late, it was 2011, 10, was Your Mom Will Hate Dead Space 2.
Oh yeah, that's a famous one where they show the graphic like eye piercing scenes and like all the gore. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And it's like this game is only purchasable by adults, man.
You said it earlier, but like the mobile game ads now that are just lies for the thing that it's not even remotely resembling at all what the game would be or whatever, or are just like things that annoy you, or like there's shit I've seen where it's just like ancient Three Kingdoms type story, and oh no, which wife should I marry? And then, or become wife, get pregnant, and then the baby came out darker. What happened? And then do you dump your wife, or like it just all these crazy fucking scenarios, and you're just like, what the shit is happening? And it's like the fact that you even stopped to look and think about it for a second means they got you, you know?
Yeah. So that's been okay. I actually had to appoint someone to vet my commercials for me. I'm not even kidding. I pay someone now. They're good lad. They help me go through the commercials and they put them together. Mm-hmm. And at one point I had to say to them, please be stricter with the mobile game ads, because there was one. Now, usually they involve puke, farts, diarrhea. There's a lot of that. And then the game is unrelated, or woman ugly doesn't get husband, or, man ugly. It's a lot of that shit. But the one that really, for me, there was a One Guy, One Jar reference.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that was in a mobile game ad. Swear to God.
I'll get you a clip at some point. Who even knows about that?
I'll get you a clip at some point. But then the one that made me rethink what I was doing with my life and actually had to say, listen, we need to take a closer look at these mobile game ads before I show them, was it activated like tryptophobia, right? So it was like foot fungus, like scrape off the fungus on the foot.
I know that one.
Lots of circles, and it was gross and pussy, and it was really disturbing and then the game is unrelated or the game doesn't even exist.
Hey, listen,
That happens a lot.
Listen. I want to apologize because when I'm scrolling through TikTok and I see like a doctor being like, okay, this dude's got the foot diabetes, let's cut his foot open. I watch that whole thing. So I'm feeding into whatever algorithm these people are taking the data from.
Yeah.
That is like people want to see people's feet cut apart.
But that's also been bled into like when you come across some shitty like auto-generated Google AdSense sites and things where like they're just like show you a picture of something creepy and weird and that'll get your attention, whatever the fuck it is. It has to vaguely resemble a body part with something weird happening to it. You know, or a face with too many lines on it, or a woman with 5 eyes, or you know what I mean? Like literally, we don't know. Just look over here for the love of God, buy it.
Right. Yeah, it's like it reeks of desperation. Actually, this ties into one more thing. I played a game last night. This is the name of the game. I want to get it right. It's on Steam.
Good.
It's made by the Katamari. I think they did the remakes, D3. But
okay,
I want to read the name of the game. It's called. Yeah, you want those games, right? So here you go. Now let's see you clear them. And it's the games from the commercials of the mobile games, and like the key, you lift the key, and then the lava.
God.
There's you click on the buildings with the numbers. There's a car mini game. Anyway,
whoa!
It's just those plus unlockables. So they make the games
that nobody's
it's actually not
that everyone's lying about.
Yeah, the games that everyone's lying about in one game. I played it for about 35 minutes. That was enough for me, but I will say I enjoyed that the games were actually really well thought out puzzles. Like,
okay,
I was shocked. I enjoyed it.
You know, that scratches an itch, I think. That scratches an itch of just like, fuck you for lying to me. Even if the game is not that great, that's what I was interested in, you know?
Exactly that. Yeah.
You know what absolutely kills me is the form of advertising. I don't know if you guys would have encountered it because I waste my time before I go to bed scrolling through TikTok endlessly because I need more memes faster. And it's a form of like not quite mobile game ad because it's filter advertising, and it is people with going, hey, use this thing you can't make 2 triangles with 5 lines. And it's some dumb shit in his living room going,
a challenge.
I can't. It's impossible. And it's always like the most like dumb shit, easiest thing in the world to solve, just for you to go, I can solve that in 2 seconds.
Yes. That was literally.
Fine.
I talked about that on the stream last night because some of the puzzles I did really poorly on. And people were like, Vinny, you're doing the ad thing where you're playing bad so that we want to buy the game.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy, I can do it. Like, it's any 8-year-old will be like lured in by that, but also us and everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So that's a real form of advertising and it's very frustrating.
So in conclusion, you know what? Sent controllers, keep it up, actually. Keep it going. Good. That's a good direction. Godspeed.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? All right, fine.
Better than foot fungus.
Turned around on it. And yeah, last couple of things here. Not much, but real quick. They showed a shot of what Venom is looking like in Spider-Man 2, and you know what? That's Venom. No notes.
This feels almost pointless.
It's like, there he is. That's what it is.
It's the most Venom-looking Venom I've ever seen.
Which is satisfying because it's not some. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's Venom. That's what I'd like. That's good. No notes, like I said. There was the combat pack they showed off for MK1, which is got Homelander, Quan Chi, Omni-Man, Peacemaker, Ermac, and Takeda. Some are affectionately calling it the racism combat pack.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, they've done RoboCop, Terminator, they've done Rambo, they've done Aliens, Predator, they've done, you know, all the horror things and all the crossover things. So, all right. Let's get the anti-Superman.
Dude,
going.
That is like, what TV shows did Ed Boon watch over the
this
past
season.
2 years?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. And MK's big enough that they can just be like, yeah, like, we want that. And they're like, sure. You know, it's
almost based on
Listen.
name alone too. Yeah.
I like obviously like I did not watch The Boys and I haven't read or watched Invincible, so I'm not the target audience. I find it really strange how there are like two not Superman evil Supermen in your DLC roster.
But
that is such a violent overlap.
But that's the point though, because people have been drawing fan art of like Homelander versus Omni-Man because those are both in the zeitgeist right now. And in the same way that they bring in RoboCop and Terminator in the same season, or Alien and Predator in the same MK, like they're doing that through their game. It's deliberate.
I mean, it's just a matter of I mean, that's going to build a little bit of hype, even if these characters aren't particularly well known by everybody. Like The Boys ended up being a pretty huge show. But then you have to think about like how do you? I guess they do it with Superman in like plenty of the games, but you know, when you watch the shows and you see these like super overpowered like gods, you know, and then they're fighting like, I don't know, what's his name? Nick Cage? No, Johnny Cage. And then it's like, really? Like Nick Cage can beat, well, you know what? Nick Cage may as well be in it. He's in Dead by Daylight. Get him in Mortal Kombat. Fuck it.
No, but
He's the brother of Johnny Cage. Screw it.
Power levels mean nothing, right? Like
that's for fun.
You're gonna get hit with the laser, and the Homelander is gonna hit you with the laser, and you should melt, but you don't, and it's Mortal Kombat.
Like I think
every time I do a super, you should be dead. You know, like
I think what's really important is that like Injustice was like insanely broken. It was like the most NetherRealm style of broken game ever, with just all the item shit, and like even Superman in that game was broken, right? It would be really funny if like they tried really hard and like MK1 was like, hey, this is like a good fighting game, and then Homelander comes out and is just Injustice Superman and just ruins that fucking game with his Injustice nonsense.
It's the kind of game though where everyone's gonna be kind of insane and busted to some degree. It's leaning in that direction already, so they seem to just be embracing it. If he's cheap as fuck, it'll be par for the course. Because the stuff that they're currently doing with Kenshi, for example, is just like, good luck. Unfair, and who gives a fuck seems to be the way they're playing it. Fast and loose.
Cool.
Last but not least, the Tekken 8 closed beta was this weekend. And didn't get a chance to get in there, but I'd like to. Still waiting on a character that I'm excited about. Maybe someone new, or maybe Steve. But Leroy's in there, so that's all right. But the only thing to report, I guess, is just we've been waiting to hear about what's going on with the netcode. So Tekken 7 was a very good fighting game, but it suffered from having really rough online play.
Well, that's because its rollback was 3.
Its rollback is 3, exactly. There's a bit of a meme where the director of the series just kind of said Tekken is 3 in response to like, what kind of netcode is the game running? And unfortunately, it seems like Tekken 8 might still be 3, perhaps maybe even 4. Whatever the fuck that means. Well, no, actually, what that means is people have been running into problems on the Tekken 8 closed beta this weekend because it seems to be suffering from some of the same issues as 7 did. Now, they said they brought in another studio. They brought in Eureka to help them with that stuff. And right now, it looks like it runs the netcode way better than 7, but way worse than Street Fighter 6 is essentially where it's landing. People that have had Wi-Fi matches are, of course, unplayable. They're just garbage.
I want to point out, by the way, in my new space, this temporary space, I'm not using my usual internet connection. I'm using a Wi-Fi 5 internet connection to do all my stuff. And I'm playing Street Fighter matches as normal. I'm running into no problems.
Yep, that game is doing a lot of heavy lifting on bad connections, and that's the magic of it. That's what matters the most, right? There's a whole long explanation for all this, but to actually answer sort of what Tekken is 3 even means, the short version of it is this. when the game is waiting for you to send, when I'm connected to you and I'm waiting for your game to send me data, the first 3 frames are going to be delay based. So I'm going to wait for your input and then play out the action according to what you send me. The next 3 frames are rollback frames that can reference a synced perfect state and go backwards if anything is off sync. But then everything from frames 7 and onward goes back to being delay based. So the short version of this is, if you have a good connection with someone, you're gonna have a normal delay based game, but it'll run. And if you have a okay connection, it will affect you. That's where the rollback zone is, so to speak. And anything that's a bad connection gets worse. So the thing that Street Fighter makes happen in a lot of cases is people who you have bad connections with end up being very playable games that feel good, and you can actually connect around the world, and it broadens the player base of people you can fight, and all these good things that come from that. This is just the first closed beta, but right now there's tons of matches of people getting awful results with Tekken 8, and the freezing, and every time you see the game kind of pause and hiccup and then wait for someone to get data to start moving again, that tells you that they're still relying on delay-based input instead of rollback, It sucks, man.
It says a lot to me how much Street Fighter I'm playing, because I was out of fighting games, and then I'm like, oh, all of that not playing fighting games was just frustration about me getting bad matches. That was that was 100% of it. And I really like Tekken a lot. I think Tekken's great. And I'm excited to continue to not play Tekken at all, because I am so done with this.
Fingers crossed it's the first test and that they're going to learn from it and do something, but it's annoying that out of the gate it seems to be repeating some of the same problems. Now, Vinny, don't even worry about the numbers of all that bullshit I just said there. At the end of the day...
I kind of get it, a little bit.
Okay. Because, at the end of the day, it's just one of these things where... fighting games used to be about going to the arcade, popping in 50 cents and, hitting some buttons, right? And then, some people got to play together on the same couch, and that's how I grew up. But, now, playing online on the internet is the way that... It's the only way to survive, And for just the longest time, the genre has been lagging because, the offline experience has always been the highest priority.
Of course, yeah.
So they're just late to the party on getting the online experience better. And the short version is that the guys who run Evo, the big tournament, they 10 plus years ago they invented a really good way to make fighting games work online. But big companies don't like paying attention to smaller little contributions. They kind of want to do things themselves, especially if it's a Japanese company that has a very stringent way of doing things. So people like us have been yelling for years, there's a solution, just listen to this thing that these people have made over here. It's been working forever, but the bigger the company, the more they want to turn their nose away from it. So it's just been this frustrating thing,
That thing you're talking about, that's not rollback, is it?
That's rollback, exactly.
That is, okay, because, I have only a little bit of knowledge when I was playing Smash, which, I know it's not a strict fighting game necessarily, and I'm fine with that, but I liked playing that online, but it just felt like shit most of the time. And then that's when I learned, my audience was telling me about how to understand these things. So I kind of got what you were saying a bit.
Right. It's exactly that. And Nintendo is the king of not giving a shit about your online matches, because they literally had a system in Smash where if you disconnect from someone, the CPU takes over. It was so insane how little they gave a fuck about any of that.
Man, I'm still remembering the worst experience I had with Smash Ultimate's netcode was not playing random matches. It was when I was in a group playing with friends that had decent internet connections, and we were having a good time, and then a different friend came in, and because of the way spectating in that system worked, when my friend came in, everyone got to enjoy a full second extra of delay on all of their matches. And it was it incentivized this weird system of hey man, I'll play solo matches with you later, but for now, get the fuck out of here.
Right, exactly.
Because even being in this room is screwing up our matches. That sucks.
And there's always
It's terrible.
That point too, where like even if you like, though everyone who has a Switch is playing it wirelessly because that's what you fucking have to do. You got to go out of your way to get a wired connection going, and who the fuck's gonna bother with that? You know, built to fail.
Shame.
Anyway, let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
All right. We got one coming in from Ben, who says, hello, Woolie and Pat. Background. I love campaign-driven control team NPCs style of game where, for example, Rainbow Six and Rainbow Six 1 and Rainbow Six 2, where... Okay, hold on a second. The sentence fell apart. Let me try this again. I loved the campaign-driven, control a team of NPCs game style of Rainbow Six 1 and 2, which I don't find as common a game type now as I wish in the shooting genre. When Siege was announced...
Okay, I got it.
Got it. Pre-ordered immediately without thinking about the changes that were occurring with the series. When it was released, I was disappointed that it became an online multiplayer team kind of game. Has the series of games ever evolved in a way that killed your enjoyment of it completely, but became more popular, and you were called a fool whenever you were complaining about wanting it to return to an inferior old style?
Shining Force! Every single Shining game that comes out, there's a bunch of people in the comments of the YouTube trailer that goes, I wish they still made these into strategy RPGs. And then all the new Shining fans who hate new RPG, whatever, just yell at them, and it's a pile of shit.
Apex Legends, obviously, is the one that comes up all the time.
Yeah, Titanfall 2, yeah.
Yep, but the thing is I don't hate Apex Legends because it was a battle royale. I hate it. I hate the fact that they abandoned the coolest parts of Titanfall. And if you were to use the robots and the wall running and all that cool shit in a battle royale, Apex could have been the greatest thing ever, right? The Titanfall's like gameplay elements that we love in something like a battle royale setting would have been unbelievable if Apex did that.
Absolutely.
I think they actually talked about like why that's not in it, and I might be pulling this out of my ass, but I remember an interview in which they described that a version of Apex Legends had the Titanfall movement in it, but it made it so that like people who couldn't do that shit had no chance on this earth of getting to the end of the game.
So let's just make the game less fun.
It created like a skill delta that was just like infinite.
Right. Yep. So then we get this, and this is the better timeline. Clearly, this is the one that we should be on.
I guess my answer. I don't really have a good answer. I mean, I really miss real-time strategy games. That doesn't answer the question. And I know there's some being worked on at the moment, like stuff like StarCraft and Warcraft 3, you know. But I think there's always going to be some indie game that tries to do that, and I think the former devs of those games are making a new one, so that's interesting for me.
Is there not a StarCraft game being made right now?
I believe so. Yeah,
I think it was shown off at some event, and I was looking at it and going, oh my god, that's just literally not StarCraft.
I think that's still being made, so that's, you know, something in that genre, though. I mean, here's one that I don't agree with, but I've heard it said, and I've actually spoken to people about this exact thing, is Zelda, like the style of open world Zelda versus, you know, Ocarina of Time style, which then you could argue, well, what about 2D Zelda? So there's like 3 types of Zelda games, 4 if you add in Zelda 2, which I personally like, but a lot don't. But I mean, for me, I'm enjoying the open world Zelda, but I'm ready for, like, if Nintendo wants to go back and forth between, here's an open world, okay, now here's one like Ocarina or Link to the Past, you know, every couple years we rotate, I'd be cool with that. Like I like all styles. I like all the styles.
I'm in a similar place, but like, boy, I sure could go for a late 90s style pre-rendered background Resident Evil game.
Sure, I'd play that.
Those games just stopped being made entirely after RE4 came out.
I enjoyed that A Link Between Worlds came out in an era of, you know, proper 3D Zeldas, right? And that was a nice little place to go.
I like that one.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Tears of the Kingdom too. It's like, well, this is the current engine they're working on. Like, this is the place that they have the most resources currently allocated. But if it does become part of a formula that they can revisit in different ways, that'd be fun. I never really considered that like they'd switch off and come back to open world. Because I kind of felt like that's sort of just adapting what games do these days is they expand, they get bigger, and that becomes a permanent change.
On a plus side, what do you call it? Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 came out, and then EA put out Dragon Age Origins, which was like kind of similar. Like, oh wow, these games are cool. And then they put out every game after that and went, oh cool, we'll never get a game like that shit ever again as long as we live. And it took like over 15 years and switching developers to get a third Baldur's Gate game that was like actually somewhat similar.
Okay, let's take one over here from no name given. Dear Orbiting Pat and Labbing Woolie.
What's up?
TLDR, what are some of the instances of the public having a negative stance on a media or game that you had the opposite opinion on? So for context, I've been playing Exoprimal, and I found it to be more fun than most people give it credit for. This triggered a lot of forgotten memories of me renting a very well-forgotten game called Brink by Bethesda
my God,
remember that?
for the 360 from a Redbox. And to keep it short, Brink was a parkour first-person shooter with classes. It died on arrival. Not a lot of people played it or remembered it existed. But I was very young at the time, and my bar for quality was nowhere near what it is now, so I enjoyed it a lot, and when I returned it, I bought a used copy from GameStop. When I went to the counter, the clerk stopped me and said, "You know this game sucks, right?" And I looked him dead in the eyes and said, "Yeah, I know. I may have played it for another month or two before the Xbox One came out." So, when have you had a contradictory opinion on media that hit like that?
So specifically
a
positive contradictory opinion, right? Because like saying something popular sucks,
of
like
course,
whatever.
That
happens every day.
Yes.
Just to mention Exoprimal, I will say that I'm like the demo that I played of it didn't do anything for me. But like I was given like an artificially poor opinion of that game by having Capcom email me like 4 times asking me if I wanted to cover it, which like screamed desperate. Let me think.
So
something I really liked.
So the ones there's always there's the ones that are all lore for me at this point, but like to dissect the other M apologist bit, the going back to when that was around, the story in Other M is garbage, but I always liked that the combat that Team Ninja changed up in a way. They added things like the counterattack and how the melee-oriented stuff in that on top of Metroid felt. I was like, oh, I like that those decisions were being made. So I overall appreciated that aspect of the game. And then, thankfully, Metroid Dread used some of those notes and gave Samus the parry later on in Metroid Dread. So the things that I liked about Other M are now proper inside the real, entries to the series.
I don't know if the opinion I'm about to say is even unpopular, right? So that, I haven't kept up because it's been decades. Counter-Strike 1.6 and Day of Defeat 1.3 are 10 times better than CS Source and DoD Source. I remember playing CS 1.6 and fucking Day of Defeat 1.3, and then the Source versions came out, and I was overwhelmed with oh, these are terrible. These are awful versions of these good games. Oh, is that extremely popular?
Not an uncommon opinion.
That opinion, there are people that I think like some of the newer stuff with Counter-Strike, but yeah, 1.6 is pretty well revered at this point. Yeah.
Do you have anything like that, Vinny?
Oh my god.
What's up? Well,
do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I do actually. There's a couple, so I'm gonna rapid fire. I love Zelda 2. I play it once a year. I do the randomizer. The game is bullshit, but I love it. I was gonna say Metroid Prime Federation Force.
Oh,
while I
wow.
didn't finish that game,
Damn,
because
what a pull.
I didn't like it that much because I was just kind of bored by it. But I played it on the same day that the first No Man's Sky happened. In fact, I streamed both at the same time as a joke. It was terrible. But
God, that's a lose-lose that day. Holy fuck.
that was not. But the original No Man's Sky drop made me feel a lot better about Federation Force, and I ended up playing good 6 or 7 hours of it. And I was like, this isn't completely terrible. If that released after a proper Metroid game, it would have been just a forgotten, like, oh, it's fine. But it turned into a shit show. There's also, I guess, here's one more, Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII.
Oh my God.
Talk to him. Talk to him. Let's go.
I don't love the game, but I remember hearing how terrible it was, so I streamed it for the funnies, and there were things I liked about it. So
I like
Vincent Valentine. Oh, go ahead.
yeah.
I can only remember 2 things from that game, out of that whole game. One, for a third-person shooter, the immediate feeling of me shooting the gun being like, ew, was bad. And the other thing was that, like, Lucrecia was like a pitiful figure in FF7, and like the story they gave her in that game makes me wish like more bad things happen to her because she is so stupid. She is so stupid.
Oh man,
I don't even remember. That's the thing. I don't even remember it.
Like I want to cyber bully her off the internet.
I'm like, Vincent Valentine is a character design that can just bully its way through, like no matter what game it's in.
Yeah,
you know?
even if the character has no character. It's just
look at him though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Spawn, you know, like Todd McFarlane back in the day. Like you just draw that with the red and the hair and like all of
and
it.
The
it's
chains.
like he's doing it. He's just look at him and appreciate the way he looks. And that's it. That's all people need.
I think there's a real appeal to cool vampire man in a cloak. And then you're like, what does he need? And then you just draw a cool pistol in his hand.
Right.
And you're like, done.
Right.
I nailed it.
He was always a party member for me.
Yeah, man. It's the same thing that made like Trigun appealing with Vash the Stampede, you know, just like it's a sketch of a dude with a gun and a red cloak in the shadows, you know.
Perfect.
It's the same exact aesthetic, which is why people lose their minds when you have like a robot and then you make the robot a little beat up.
Yep.
And then you make the robot wear a coat or a cloak
put
or
some
a
clothing on it,
or
scarf.
A poncho.
Yeah,
Little bit of that.
That'll do it.
Okay, 2 more that come to mind as well are Bionic Commando, the 3D one. Like, despite overall being like, especially in the likes of Rearmed existing, being essentially just a why the fuck did this ever happen project, I look at it and I appreciate the fact that it's proof of concept that a swinging 3D Bionic Commando game can happen. It's just if the character and story weren't fucking wife arm, you know, if it was actually handled in a way that was well done, the swinging and the ability to play in death from above and just shoot and like that style of game can work, and that it works because the multiplayer was a ton of fun, and the swinging through the air and sniping people in midair is the hottest shit ever. I don't give a fuck.
So I feel like Bionic Commando 2009 is it's like the perfect game if you want to talk about how expectations can ruin something for you. If Biocom 2009 was the exact same game it is now, like identical, but it had no story, it had no cutscenes at all, and it was not made by Capcom, it was just some game you found on Steam, that would be like a cult classic. People would be like, did you hear about the swinging in that game's so
Random
cool.
discovery.
But because it came out by Capcom in their golden 360 era, and the story was so aggressively fucking awful, like it's consigned to the 6 out of 10 bargain bin forever.
And we know what that name should mean, right? A Bionic Commando game should be a lot of fun. And you got a fun one right next to it. Yeah, so that's it though. But that's it.
That game sticks in my mind even now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when I started to do it, but over the past like couple of months, whenever I get stuck on a boss, I will like just manifest the phrase, "Wow, this guy looks pretty tough. I guess I'll just have to fuck it."
Sure.
And then no one knows what the fuck I'm talking about because that makes no sense. And then I have to explain, well, in Biocom 2009, when you lose to the worm boss 3 times, for some reason, Steve Bloom tells you to fuck it. And then
I don't know why
the
I found that so funny. Thanks for that.
The character responds to Steve Bloom and goes, "What? What? Why?"
Yeah. No, actually, Steve Bloom is the guy who's saying what, why, and the voice actor is the lead singer of.
Oh, do I have it back?
Yeah, because the Spencer is voiced by the lead singer of whatever band it was, Faith No More or something like. I don't remember which band.
Mike Patton, was it?
I think so. Something like that. Yeah. So.
Let me see if I can find this.
Huh.
Oh no! You're right. Super Joe says, "I guess you're gonna have to fuck it," and then
yeah,
Rad Spencer goes, "What? Yeah. You're right. Other way around. Sorry. He's telling him on the comms to do that. You're correct.
It's baffling. It's fucking weird.
And yeah, it was Mike Patton for some weird reason.
And Mike Patton had a stint in which he had a growly voice and he wanted to be in video games, which is why he voiced the Darkness in The Darkness 1 and 2.
If it works.
I also feel this way about Mirror's Edge Catalyst, where Mirror's Edge...
shut up. That game sucks.
Mirror's Edge is the better game. What I'm saying is the Catalyst with the open world idea, I don't think open world is a completely garbage concept for Mirror's Edge. I think it can work. It just needs to be a well-designed open world. You know?
It was not.
That it needs to be an open world that like is fucking awesome and fun and well built and tons of places and things to do and so on. But yeah, I
remember played Catalyst and then I was like, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, and then reinstalled Mirror's Edge 1 and replayed the first 2 levels and was like, no, I'm not remembering it wrong. This game from 2008 is way better.
It's the strength of the map. That's what it comes down to, you know? It's you're parkouring through it. So like the stage needs to have character and be built well, and open world games, there's a lot of dry nothing ones, and the ones that stand out, when everyone played Breath of the Wild, they were like, holy shit, this is a fun open world setup. Like you have to approach it like that, It would have had to have been
also, if you asked me which I thought would make for a better designed area in a video game, like a building made entirely out of colored glass or a building made out of freshly painted concrete, I would be shocked to tell you right now that the painted concrete actually looks way better.
The Mirror's Edge graphic design, still goated.
The first game looks better visually than the second game.
It's funny. I've never played Mirror's Edge, but if you showed me a screenshot, I've watched it, played a couple times. If you showed me a screenshot of that game, I would know it's Mirror's Edge, and that is it's shocking.
Aesthetic, lowercase with a space between each letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, last one over here. Skitcat Fran. No, what? Okay. Jesper.
Oh, good.
Asks, Dear Woolie Versus and Patrick Boyvin the Animator, what is skeet 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 is one of the elements of hip hop, quote unquote. Could Woolie please explain these words to my uncultured Swedish ears?
That's jizz.
What is hip hop?
Fucking jizz.
Okay, all right. Here, look. All right. I'll set the picture real quick. The year is 1973. Man. We're in the Bronx. And
all right, Sophia, tell your story.
DJ Kool Herc is at a party, and everyone is breakdancing, but they want to dance for longer, but the instrumental section of the music, it's not lasting long enough. So he physically cuts the records up and makes the break part last longer so that they can dance for longer, right? So right there, he starts scratching, and the b-boys start b-boying. Now, Blondie, the girl from Call Me, you remember that song? Walks up and grabs the mic, and she starts freestyling, right, with Rapture, and before you know it, she's the first rapper of all time, right?
Blondie?
And
That'd be Harry?
And then, right, you got your MCing, she's the first rapper of all time, you got your scratching, you got your b-boying, and then outside, everyone that witnesses this event is so fucking blown away by it that they paint a mural and then they graph that shit on the walls, and those are the elements of hip-hop coming together right there, right? You got your 4 elements. But then, nowadays, we got skeet, and the skeeting. Now, that's one of the really important elements of hip-hop. You see, back in the day, you had them squares up in their Wall Street towers looking down, and they didn't believe that it could make it from the windows all the way to the wall, right? But a couple of cats on the streets thought otherwise. They thought they could get it all the way from the window to the wall, and then they started working on that shit. Fast forward a couple generations, that's hip-hop.
Woolie,
Oh, yeah.
Was all of that nonsense?
I believe him.
That's hip-hop.
No, what's skeet?
It's when you're on your skateboard and you grab the bumper of a car and then you go really fast.
Skeet is a little different, though. Skeet.
Skeet shooting is different than skeet, yes?
Mm-mm.
Well, maybe not.
The important part is that they proved that it can make it all the way across the room. It can make it everywhere. Everywhere, motherfucker. All of it.
Oh, yeah.
The 4 and now 5 elements of hip-hop. There you go. Talk to your local NPass dealer. See what we can do for you.
That's not real. Don't walk up to a black person and ask them if they're your NPass dealer. Don't do that.
Talk to your and we can get U-Face going. We can get you all hooked up with everything you need to know. Just recite the story of hip hop as told, just there accurately, and you get yourself in free. Actually,
I don't know. I feel like if somebody told that story verbatim as you just told that, some people would think that's really funny.
I mean,
because it's so off base.
Only one way to find out. You can go out there and find the people who will absolutely co-sign Blondie as the first rapper of all time. That's out there. I'm just saying, man.
Hey,
That's
Vinny,
actually kind of mind-blowing.
Vinny, I just want to point out we didn't go through this period last time you were here because that predated Woolie's shit. Don't listen to him. Don't take any advice from Woolie.
I think if any of us had like more trustworthy advice to give on subjects of the culture, you would have to listen to someone of the culture that can deliver these facts.
Yeah,
I think.
But here's the thing.
I think
there's a difference between expected knowledgeability and trustworthiness.
Hang on, I can fix this. Hang on. Was Blondie the first rapper? Harry didn't invent this nor ever claim to, but she was probably one of the first to bring rap singing into a more mainstream rock song, Rapture, in 1980.
See? A whole lot of people say that Blondie was the first rapper. Therefore, Blondie is the first rapper.
Oh, is this like how Elvis invented rock and roll?
Yes!
There it is.
Oh, Okay.
I
Okay.
get
We're
it.
learning history.
Oh,
Wow.
there it is. There's the final puzzle piece.
Mental. That is.
I gotta watch that Elvis fucking movie.
Yeah.
I saw that clip where Tom Hanks
don't.
is like,
Or don't,
fine.
or literally don't.
or don't. Okay, fine. Fuck
He's
it.
quiet. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a whole conversation, but you know what? You can watch find a 4-minute compilation on YouTube of the best Elvis movie moments and you'll be good.
You know what? I'm
I
good
watched
with
the
that.
ending. I watched the ending on someone's over the shoulder on a plane, and I told everyone
Dude,
about it. Where he gets out of the car.
Yeah.
That is the best way to watch a movie that you're not interested enough to actually go and watch. Is over someone's shoulder on a plane. It is all the respect a movie you don't actually want to watch deserves.
I saw everything I needed to know and read those subtitles. It was grand. He flew into heaven, and that's how he died.
Yeah.
All right. Vinny, thank you so much for joining us. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Vinny.
you.
You've been a fantastic
man.
guest, as always. Love you, buddy.
Hey, real quick, I just want to say, yes, thank you so much for having me. Pat, thank you for rating my channel as much as you do. I know our overlap time is you stream earlier than I do, but you should know I appreciate you so much. You're
Thanks,
great.
man. That's really sweet.
We got to do more stuff together. Good
Because
luck.
I always know that like my audience will be thrilled to show up in your stream. So like it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely. And vice versa for you. Like seriously, anytime I see you live, if I can, I will do the raid. So I appreciate
I feel
you.
like every time you raid me, I'm like fucking it up or like shitting my pants.
That's okay. I shit my pants for a living. Don't worry about it. No, I appreciate you, Pat. Thank you so much for everything. And we'll listen, man. You know, us getting a chance to hang out at TMG this year was like, you're one of the realest dudes, and I appreciate everything. We got a chance to hang out. We got a chance to talk about Metal Gear, about life,
everything,
and everything in between. So it was
good
awesome.
times, man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much.
And thank you for having me. So maybe we'll get together again sometime, and maybe I'll tell you about the next big meme in 6 years.
All right.
Thank you for helping us.
I'll hit you up in New York.
Please do, for sure.
All right.
All right, and all of you people have a good week or whatever. Bye.
Take it easy.
Bye, everyone.